Welcome on out, everybody, to another edition of the Living Deadwax show. And we got record store haul coming at you today. Should be a fun one. I got good amount of stuff, not a ton, definitely not the biggest. So that simmering down here at the end of the year.
Well, to be fair, I think last time it was like 4 months worth of stuff. So
yeah, exactly. I think maybe it's only been a month or two since the last one.
So you previously had a lot sitting around there for a good minute.
Yes. So I've got some CDs, cassettes, vinyl, of course. Do you have a book to talk about? Which should be a good one. So I don't know what you got. I know you got cassettes. I don't know what vinyl you picked up.
I got CDs, cassettes, and vinyl.
Okay. So I got vinyl.
Oh yeah, I got a little bit here. A little bit.
Have you? I know we talked about it, not on the channel, but just in general. Your storage situation. Have you decided to make any plunge?
All right. Okay.
Resign to where you're at.
I do this podcast to just kind of get away from stress sometimes. I don't like bringing everything, being overwhelmed here by anxiety. So I don't like that we talk about this right now. It's a little personal. I would like to move on, and I would appreciate some space on this. No, I don't know, because vinyl, on top of everything being very expensive right now, like I've been finding stuff, but then at the end of the day, like I can't justify it because pricing is ridiculous. But also, like, for so much stuff, I am just stacking, and I have 2 stacks below this as well underneath it. So it's like I'm just buying stuff to stack it because I don't have an actual shelving, thing here right now. So I need to eventually, the only thing that makes sense in my life is to buy another shelf or buy the big shelf, which I guess is possible because there's actually quite a few. I look on Craigslist and even on Facebook Marketplace, which I have never dealt with my entire life, but Facebook Marketplace, there are people on there that are trying to sell them, and also some are trying to give them away because it's just such a large piece of furniture. People don't want to. Yeah, it's crazy. So the big one, there's the big one that's a 8 cube, and there's another big one that's a 24 cube. That's the big hoss. But so I need to buy another one of the 8 cubers, and then go from this, just turn it sideways and go from there. And or like you have them stacked, which is a possibility as well. So I just need to do that. That's the next move. I need to get rid of Bruce Wall. It might have lived its life. It was good. It's good while it lasted, and I can just kind of reorganize a little bit. But yeah, it's a work in progress. But yes, we'll see what happens. Anyway,
hey man,
no,
I don't want to. I'm not trying to dig the knife into deeper. It's a part of collecting. That's the episode tonight, is collecting in the haul, and I would say actually more, probably 75% of collecting is just storing, maybe even more. Finding a place.
So I have 2 things. I have to say. First one, we'll eventually do an episode because I don't want to purge anything. That's my biggest, I have a ton of stuff in my collection right now that I like, but I shouldn't be the one to have it. I don't I like this thing and it's worth money, but I'm not the guy to have this, so sure. I can purge things or sell stuff off or trade it in or whatever's going to happen, right? So I will eventually have to do an episode where I will show what I'm getting rid of, exodusing from the collection, and that'll be a video. But the other part of that, when you bring up half of it, 70% of it's collecting, a depressing thing about collecting anything but records in this case is you don't actually, your records are not going to go with you, right? So you're just renting them. It's just a longer term rental because that box set is going to go to whomever or not go to whomever, and they're going to move it on or sell it off or whatever. So that's how we have stuff. So it's you're just renting your music collection, any collections you have, really.
Yeah.
So
you're just a curator to take it to another life, basically.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer when you kind of think about that, because I was that's true. This stuff will be someone else's at some point. Somebody else will own all of my collection. And it's not going to be my next of kin necessarily. So I fear that.
Well, even if you have direct family, if you have a kid or something like that, I mean, they're hanging on to it anyway. So
I mean, like my dad's, like I have my dad's stuff, right? So it's like I have that, and I feel weird selling it off. So eventually, that'll be sold off to somebody, and then mine will be sold off to somebody, and then some dumbass kid in 30 years, 40 years is like, what? You got this? You got the AFI burials record? What?
This is 50 years old.
Oh
shit. Classic rock.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's my dilemma. So I did a lot of shed cleaning, got rid of a lot of shit that just piled up. Nothing made, just trash, just garbage. Was out there, and all my books were in a box out there. And I was like, I got to figure out what to do with these books. I want to keep my books. It's a lot of my music books and stuff like that. I got a lot of biographies and stuff and some horror stuff. I'm like, I gotta keep the books, but I'm not horror. I gotta, I gotta get these books out of here.
Yeah.
And because otherwise I hate having stuff just to throw in a box in a shed. Because then I just feel dumb. It's like, why do I have this shit? So I got a bookshelf. Nice little bookshelf, Amazon special. Put it over in the corner, got my books out. So I was able to move some of my books that I had down here.
Oh, unlocked.
Shelf. So it unlocks some space for a little bit, which is nice.
Okay.
So I have about a cube that I can play with still.
All right, you got about 50
and then
50 give or take.
And then once I have to get another calyx, I have to figure out what to do with the damn bookshelf.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. It has been nice because I have been reading a book that we'll talk about, and I have these other books on the shelf, and I'm like, oh, I should read that now. I should read that next. So now that they are accessible, I might read some more.
They're back in the conversation.
Probably not. I probably won't read more. I'm usually good for about one book a year, but we'll see. We'll see.
When I got rid of when I traded in and got rid of a bunch of my bookshelf stuff, and I got rid of a lot of books. Yeah, I was really like optimistic when I was buying these books. I was like, this is really interesting, and like everything I gave away was for the most part really interesting. And I was like, and I still think a lot of it's interesting because a lot of it's the music books and biographies and stuff like that, right? But like or wrestling books or whatever, right? So it's like a lot of that stuff is awesome, but it's I did read though when I was at TRICARE. I did read a bunch. So I knocked out all the Jerichos. I knocked out Brett's book. I knocked out a bunch of wrestling books and Steven Tyler's book. And I read Slash's book in high school. So that job allowed me to read a lot. Just casually and for fun, I'm also good for one a year or so. And then I check the box and it's gone. So, knock it out. It's like filing your taxes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at. My state of collecting. My CD shelf is kind of morphed into a CD and cassette shelf. So I got to figure out what to do with that eventually. So
we're trying to find. I mean, we both are, but you have I think you might. I don't know. You don't got like a bunch of room over there, but like on the walls.
No,
if we get you a cassette deal, and you can hang on the wall, it'd be pretty nice. Pretty sick.
Yeah, I'd have to sacrifice some posters, but it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. So, yeah, it's rough. It's a rough life.
You can take the young guns down.
Young Guns is in the hallway anyway, so
I know what it is. You can just take it down. That's how it was unrelated.
Wow,
it's unrelated to anything. You just take it down.
Nice, thanks, appreciate that. No, that's a hallway displayer. That's
coming to 4K near you. Pretty soon.
Dude, like 2 weeks. I'm stoked. New interviews, bro. New interviews. The movie's so good.
I've never seen it.
I'll give you the code. Watch it.
Oh yeah, I anticipate that. That's with the Reckless Heart or whatever Bon Jovi song, isn't it?
The second one has Bon Jovi, and it's Blaze
John Bon Jovi.
Blaze of
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Is the song. Not Reckless Heart. I don't know what the fuck that
What's
is.
that from? Yeah, that's a song.
I don't.
That is a song though. Reckless Heart with an R. Reckless Heart.
Okay. Alrighty, let's get into pickups. So I don't know if you want to kick us off.
Sure, you want me to run through everything? Because I got few tapes, a good two handfuls of CDs, and a handful of records.
Nice.
What do you want me to do?
No, let's do one at a time. Let's just bounce back and
Okay.
forth for a while until one of us, you're gonna run out for me. So
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Duh. All right. So this is I think you might be able to correct me. I'm pretty sure this is the only cassette I bought here recently. The first of the few that I bought, but the oldest one I guess I bought. I found Adrenalize Def Leppard on cassette there a few weeks ago, and I was pretty stoked on that.
You got another Def Lep last weekend.
I did indeed.
Have it
next to me. Yeah, stepping on shit here. So Adrenalize, very lead a little bit. So Adrenalize, it's not obviously it's not their biggest record by any means, but it's the last relevant record, like honestly for them, right? So this is 92, excuse me, 92.
Let's get rocked.
Yeah, let's get rocks on here. Make Love Like a Man's on here. What'd you say?
2 Sets Behind, right?
So no.
Okay. 2 Sets Behind might have been on that Greatest Hits.
Maybe.
Retroactive or whatever.
Yeah. Also, on this, I did notice, though, that this is a Mutt Lange record, but it's not.
It is.
It's Mike Shipley, Mutt Lange executive produced, though.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
So Mike Shipley and Def Leppard produced it. No, yeah. And what's weird about it is I was reading because at least for these releases, I can't speak on if they maintained them. They probably did, honestly. It's Def Leppard or whatever, right? But like they would have the insert in here, and it would always have like a write up by Joe Elliott, and he would basically tell like how the last few years from the last record touring and then making this record was like, whatever. Because this is the first record without Steve Clark after he passed away, so a lot of it's about like Steve Clark, whatever. And then they talk about how they were hanging out with Mutt, and then things kind of came together or whatever. And then I was like, yeah, Mutt produced it. And then I was reading on it. I was like, no, Mike Shipley produced it. And I was like, well, how is Mutt involved if Mike Shipley produced it? Like, what are we talking about here? And Mutt was an executive producer, I believe, on this. And he still, I think, has songwriting credits on here and everything else. So, yeah. Also, a Chrome tape. Pretty sick.
What has Mike Shipley done? Has he done anything else? Do you know?
No, I'm sure I did read a couple weeks ago. Nothing off the top of my head here. Let's see. I imagine probably has done some stuff. He's done. He did the Union Station Allison Krauss records. He did. He did High and Dry as the engineer. So he did the engineering.
So he had been around then. Gotcha.
Yeah. As an engineer, and then he started producing, and then he produced Benjamin Orr's solo record.
Nice. I'll be pulling that out, actually.
No, all right, there you go. Yeah. And then, he has worked on a bunch of stuff, and he did some Rat 90s records. He did Adrenalize. He did some Meatloaf was on 90s stuff. He did the Enrique Iglesias record, like the one. He did that.
Oh wow!
He did the Faith Hill Breathe record. He's got some stuff here. He did Warning too. Wow, Green Day. Shout out.
Oh wow! So he's got some money.
Yeah, I hope so.
Very cool. All right, my first cassette. Actually, I was just playing this earlier before you got on. King Diamond, with Them. Cool. King's third solo album. Very nice, early or late 80s or whatever when this came out. I think it's like 80. Damn it, it's not on there. It's nice because it's actually a road racer. It's not a road runner. You're not gonna be able to read it.
It's the first I don't know what takes first run, but it's the first run for that label.
It is a very early pressing of it. I can get in my Discogs. Plays really nice. I'm kind of kind of in this weird spot where I don't want to spend a bunch of money on cassettes, but when I find cool metal on cassettes, I feel the urge to buy it just because like that was like the preferred format for a lot of metalheads. That was the cheapest thing to do when you were a kid. So like I just have a weird urge, and a lot of them retain value because of that. So like I don't really like feel bad about it. I know like it's gonna get more money, gonna go up or stay the same at least.
Yeah.
This
also,
it was a really clean copy. 88. This is an 88 pressing of it.
Okay.
And there's 2 for sale on Discogs, both starting at 25, and I think I might have paid like $20 for it.
Okay.
So
you got a little bit of deal on there. That's also like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like cassettes. Well, maybe you could argue cassettes probably took more of a beating than vinyl did, because cassettes were obviously more durable and you can do whatever you want to them until a certain point. And portables, yeah, they're left in trucks and cars and whatever, right? And they're under seats and this and that. And you'll see that in the next thing we talk about. But like, you know, there's a lot of cassettes that have seen better days. A lot of records have too. But like metal stuff from the 80s, like anytime you find that stuff, again, LP or otherwise, in really clean condition, like I just want to buy it every time because it's like it's so rare to come across, because like that was kids records, that was kid music. So like, you know, the 15, 16-year-old dude got that, or a girl got those records, and they usually got stepped on, you know, got spilled on, written on, you know, whatever, because it was kid stuff. Like just like how most of, well, I don't know about yours, but a lot of my CDs when I was a kid, they got broken, not the CD, but the cases got broken and stuff and this and that. Sure. Like I cracks all over because I'm a kid and I'm stepping on things and letting them fall and putting things on things, you know, whatever. So it's just like with tapes, because they have the casing on there, you know, like this stuff is hard to come across in really nice condition these days. So when you do, you want to buy it regardless of what it is. That's why, same Z, I like to buy, I don't want to buy all kinds of cassettes unless it's kind of interesting, I guess, in my all-time favorite bands or whatever. But I'm really trying to keep it to 80s metal cassettes, like hair metal, like Def Leppard, whatever, Whitesnake, Guns, Van Halen, stuff like that. Like the 80s metal I'm doing, you're going deeper and heavier, obviously. But the 80s pop metal, I'm trying to find those tapes, man.
Yeah, it's like it feels like a good preferred format for that type of music.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It was the cheapest format.
It just feels right.
Yeah.
So, you know, also too, the fact that would you pay $2 for that Adrenalize, you know?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I found my Spanish copy from Spain or whatever at Camelback for like $20. So that was nice.
The LP?
Yeah.
So
that's nice, but that's not happening every day. So like to get the cassette for like $2 or $3 or whatever it is, like cool.
For sure. And like I'm on the tip too, where like we just talked about my storage situations. Like I still have some room for tapes. So like I have easy room for tapes. For now, I have easy, you know, I got racks and stuff, whatever. I have room for tapes for now. Until I don't, and then I just start stacking those, and then it kind of just turns into everything. And that's why CDs and everything else. So yeah. Anyway, we're buying metal CDs, the whole thing. So yeah.
What you got next?
All right. I'll do the most recent addition to my Def Leppard. Got Pyromania. I got it's a much cleaner copy than what I started as, because I did replace the casing when we got back to my apartment, and to a much cleaner case, not perfect, but a much cleaner case. The original one had stuff all over it and it was not doing too hot. And also like the J card has seen better days, got a little bit of cassette ringware, squareware. It's got a little bit of that squareware on there. And then you know, it looks like it might have seen a liquid or two at some point, you know. But got that. And then the ring that was really gnarly is like this has definitely been underneath the seat of an S10 somewhere. And this is after I cleaned it. Like there's still just gunk in there. And like when I cleaned it, I definitely didn't use alcohol, and I definitely didn't wipe off, 2/3 of this writing on here for the the thickness of it, right? But so I tried to clean it up with some alcohol swabs and cotton Q-tips or whatever, and we listened to it, still sounds like Pyromania as much as it's going to be on cassette, you know. So it's still working out. So it didn't get baked too heavy. This thing, look at that. That's like tar in there.
Yeah.
Like this is like it's a construction workers. Like
It's $2. So it's price to sell.
For sure. Like, I'm not arguing with that. And like, we both were pretty shocked, even though it's seen a little bit of better days, right? We were both pretty shocked that it wasn't in the case because, like, I don't know what they want to charge for it, but like, it wouldn't be insane to me if they wanted to slap $10 on it if it was like a clean copy and put it in the case, right?
Sure.
So, like, you know,
yeah.
I never really usually. I think there's a copy that's better than this. I think they have a better artwork copy somewhere.
Well, I was going to say, I usually don't like the black cases. I usually just like the clear cassette cases.
Yeah.
But that actually looks good with that artwork.
No, yeah. No, it does.
I actually like that.
Yeah, I think there's artwork, like the little or later copies of it that is like, or what am I doing? That, you know, cuts that, whatever, and then just has Pyromania. It's kind of cooler looking. So that would be the one I would prefer just because I understand what you're saying because it's also a BMG, so it's a you know, mail order.
Yeah.
But a club edition. But yeah, I would just rather have always the specialty artwork because it's tape made for tapes. It's cool.
The story of that cassette, if that cassette could talk.
So this cassette was definitely maybe an early 90s Ranger, maybe still like maybe a Bronco too.
Could be 80s too. Could be 80s. Somebody could have got it in the 80s.
Yeah, an 80s Bronco too, you know. This could have been a high school kid's copy, you know. He could have you know, became a man to this tape, or at least, you know, maybe third base to a man, you know, whatever, to this tape right here. So
a little photograph going on.
Yeah. And guess what? 87, 84, you know, I guess maybe a little before Hysteria there, so you get whatever. But like, you put on Photograph, you put on Rock Till You Drop. You know what I'm saying? It's good. Foolin', Rock of Ages, Billy's Got a Gun. You love Billy's Got a Gun.
Yeah, that record's great.
Yeah,
it's Pyromania. Yeah. It's 10 million sold.
Squillion.
It's pretty good. You ever heard of it?
Good.
Moving on to another cassette that's I don't know, it's cool to buy. I don't know. I'll eventually I don't know if I want to format complete this band. I just kind of am. I don't know, maybe. Queensryche with Here in the Now Frontier. This is an okay album. This, you know, kind of towards the downturn. This is like 96. Yeah, 96. So we're pretty deep in there. It's a fine record. There's some like kind of weirdo, like alternative, like 90s, what you expect. Some like 90s, some 90s trash like rubbed in there. But not that I dislike that stuff, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I picked this up at Zaya. This is a pure impulse buy just because I actually don't own this on any format. So this is the only format I own this on. So eventually I would like to complete, obviously, the discography. I'm probably close now. Even though there's some goddamn stinkers in there. But we'll see.
I don't know, man. Like for Queensryche, because you already are the dumpster, right? You're already there. So it's like if you can run across them cheap, you know, there's really no reason to pick it up, right?
Yeah, no reason not to. I almost have the I'm missing I don't have the EP. I don't have the Warning on cassette, but I have Empire. I have Rage for Order.
You have Mindcrime too.
I have this. I have Operation Mindcrime. So I would need, I need like the first two. I need the EP and the first record, and then I could get Promised Land, which is the record before this. I could get that, but after that, I don't know if there was enough. There might be the record after this. Q2K might have a cassette, but that record's not that great, so we'll see.
What year is that record?
It's 99 or 2000. It's Q2K.
Oh yeah, I did not even do that, brother.
I'll do I'll do another one real quick while you're looking that up.
Yeah, do it.
Black Sabbath, Dehumanizer. Another one. I don't need to own this on CD, cassette, and vinyl, but I do. So I think this is format complete. I doubt there's a mini disc for this. It's not Sony. So really sick album. If you've never listened to this is the reunion. The second of 2 reunions with Ronnie. And this after the first Tony Martin era. And it's a great album. It's really interesting to hear because they never really did a follow-up to Mob Rules because they broke up after Mob Rules. So you kind of have like a 10-year follow-up. So it's really interesting to hear like what an actual follow-up to be Mob Rules would be, like 2 years or 3 years after the fact.
Yeah.
But this is cool. It's kind of a weird oddity in that Sabbath lineup because it's stuffed in between 2 Tony Martin eras, and it's probably one of the darkest, heaviest Sabbath albums. This is kind of like their Painkiller, I would say.
Who's that on drums on that record?
It's Vinny.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, for those bands, like, because you're already in the dumpster and like Sabbath, coming out, like, even if you found like Paranoid for like $3, like I want you to buy it. I would expect you to buy it.
That's
right?
a good price.
Like, yeah, like I know it's just right now. Because cassettes are cool again. We've talked about this many times. Cassettes are cool again, right? So like I think right now is like the rise of them. Like we're gonna see like stuff going for like $12 here in like a year or two. I don't know. So like
common,
right now,
like the basic shit. Yeah.
Like you're gonna find nothing. You're gonna find a shitty Pyromania for $11. Like that's just the price.
Yeah,
you know.
I hear you.
So right now, like when you can find cool stuff and for cheap, you just want to buy it. But then again, like we're talking about, it's like where do you draw the line? Like you want to do certain bands, certain kind of genres or whatever. Well, what if you run into this? Like what if you run into that? Like I have Hootie and the Blowfish. I have Cracked Review. Like, why did I buy that? Because I stole it. Actually, that was a steal. I stole that one. Not on purpose, but I eventually I did realize what I was doing, and I was like, it's already in there. So it's in my pocket. It's in my pocket. I stole it. Stole it from Goodwill though, not from record shop. Just for record.
Yeah.
But
anyway. Is it on cassette? Q2K.
It is on cassette for $15. Discogs.
Yeah. That's too much money. I'd have to find
what are you in? Are you in at 10?
10 or below.
Okay. Well, what if have we ever looked up when cassettes went out?
No, not really. I don't think so.
I
don't know what I would say it's like 04.
I mean, okay,
03 maybe. Saint Anger's on cassette. That's 03.
Okay, interesting. Also, Untitled is also on cassette, which is recently 20 years, a couple days ago. So cassettes. Scrolling down here, they still make them. Obviously, that's what we're talking about here. So they still exist. So
Saint Anger was the last cassette in Metallica set. We did this at the show. Saint Anger was the last Metallica like in the US. Death Magnetic was on cassette, but it was in like Argentina and shit.
Okay. So by 93, annual shipments of CD players had reached 5 million, up 21% from the year before, while cassette player shipments had dropped 7% to approximately 3.4 million. Sales of pre-recorded music cassettes in the U.S. dropped by 442 million in 1990 to 274,000 by 2007. Wow. That is a sickening drop off. For audiobooks, the final year the cassettes represented greater than 50% of the total market sales was 2002. So I would imagine, because that's audiobooks, but I still would imagine thereabouts. 02, like we just said, 02, 03, 04, maybe 05 was the last year where you could really get releases. Like Hot Fuss is 04 or 05 or 03?
It's 04.
Okay. Do you think Hot Fuss is on cassette?
I would say yeah.
American cassette though, probably not though, right?
Yeah. I mean, I started working at Target in 06. And I don't remember cassettes ever being there in the electronics.
So cassette, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia at that point. So I think that's the line.
Shout out to me in 03. It's probably like your last year to get major albums on cassette.
Yeah. Though India, I did not read on here, through 2009, India music continued to be released on the cassette format due to its low cost. So they were keeping it alive there for little whiles. Shout out India.
Yeah.
Our friends over there in India.
It's like the Sega Genesis in Brazil.
What year did that stop?
Like 2007 or some shit. Or 2008. Yeah.
Like hold up, developers were putting it out, or like Sega was still like just printing
yeah Sega. You could get games like, and there's a ton of games that could come out on the Genesis that never came out here. Yeah, look that up. It's really interesting. Huge in Brazil. Huge. I knew it was huge here too. But what's your next one? Let's get this train rolling.
Another one we had last week. Same time we bought the Pyromania. Got The Police, Synchronicity on. Look at that there. Chromium dioxide audiophile cassette. This is another $2. So like it's one of the biggest records, obviously. Well, it's their biggest record. It's one of the biggest records of the 80s. And probably all time on some list somewhere. I don't know, like mid 30s, possibly. I don't know. But it's their biggest record, Synchronicity. You got Synchronicity 2, Every Breath You Take, King of Pain, Wrapped in Your Finger, Murder by Numbers. Like this is it. So would recommend obviously listening to this record if you haven't. It's on a list somewhere, I think, for 1983. Is that what it is? Or it's not I think that's what it is. 1983. I think it was. Like it doesn't say on here, right?
So we probably covered it then.
Probably definitely did, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we talked about it. The cassette is very cool.
I like the logo. It's got that custom logo on there. It's cool.
Yeah, it's got gimmick writing on there, which is nice.
Yeah.
Pretty satisfied with that. And to find it for $2, I mean, again, it's one of the biggest records of all time, so there's a billion out there. But to find it for $2, and it's actually like, we haven't talked about this, but it is crazy that we don't find more cassettes than what we do. Like, do you think that people threw them out?
Yeah, for sure. 1,000%. And they would just wear out. So people just throw them away.
Fair. That's fair. I guess you would get multiple, like, if you really liked a record, you might, like, I know I bought a few CDs multiple times, but that was just me, like, scratching them and shit, and, like, not wearing them out per se. But even if, like, you took care of the cassette, but if you just wore it out one summer, you could possibly buy a cassette a few times, right? In its lifetime.
Oh, yeah, for sure. the Ceotron, got a lot of the older guys like Ceotron Code, they talk about it all the time. Like wearing out cassettes, and I don't think they're like using a euphemism for it. Like I think they actually mean wearing it out. I mean,
no.
So yeah, I think you're 1,000% right. I think either just people they got wore out, throw them away, or people just threw them away because these aren't worth anything. I'm on to CDs now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I have seen Pyromania exactly one time on cassette, I want to say, or at least consciously. I might have seen it back in the day, I'm not sure. But even back in the day, it wasn't like I saw 5 Pyromanias on the shelf there on the rack, right? So like this has sold probably by this point 18 million copies, and in the time probably a pretty healthy amount on cassette, a good several million.
Yeah, to be fair though, I think a lot of the local stores anyway to us have just started picking back up on the cassette train.
Yeah. I mean, I think we talked to Steve about it once, and Steve was like, I don't like, he used to have a rack by the door at the second location, I guess it is. And he would just have a rack by the door. And like, I wonder, I don't remember like, well, no, you were buying tapes there for a good summer and a half there. So like you were buying tapes for the old dip, and you had, again, I'll talk about it. You had a pretty good collection there. Wish we would have maintained that, but you had all the big records, or at least a good number of the big records from the 90s and late 80s, right? And like then I think we're paying $2 for like Nevermind.
Yeah.
Like 2012 or so. Like the market has just gone up. Like Nevermind now is, if I went to Zia and saw Nevermind at $26, I guess I guess that's what it is. $26.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
you guys saw some Alice in Chains stuff there
Yeah.
at one of the Zias. Wasn't that like $20+? So it's, yeah,
I
it's
think yeah,
kind
I
of
was
the
thinking, I
same.
was thinking like 15, $16. Yeah.
Yeah. My next one is a really cool one. Really nice cassette too, like one of those full wrapped J cards. Fate's Warning with Awaken the Guardian. This is American prog metal. Uh, this is probably their best album. A lot of people say that. I enjoy it quite a bit. I did actually listen to this cassette, and yeah, because some of the shit I buy I actually listen to some of it. Yeah, it's one of those full wrapped around J cards, which is cool.
Okay.
So it's got like the full track listing on the back and really nice setup. I think I got this to you.
Ooh.
So there you go.
I know you got a good handful of mics.
Yeah, I think I did those last time though. I don't think I have any
Okay.
mic purchases this time.
All right, fair enough. All right. So my next one, I'm out of tapes now. No more tapes.
Okay.
I got another massive. I got lucky there for a little haul. I got In Utero by
Oh,
Nirvana.
nice.
As established, previously did favorite Nirvana record, In Utero. And it's
Was
really
in your
nice.
top
I mean,
10 of all time as well.
yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Or was it an
And
honorable?
I can't recall right now because
Okay.
that was my top 10 for that day. So there we go.
Very true.
Yeah. So it's the older. It's got the black, on the side there. The black border,
Tray.
whatever you want to say.
CD
Tray. There we go. There we go. It is the CD tray. But I did notice this. So I have every belief in the world. Just like looking at it and looking at a little bit of the wear, whatever. I have every belief in the world. This is of the moment. This is mid 90s, whatever, right? But I did notice. Yeah, I know. I didn't want to drill down. It also has the AAD on there still. So like it was still like, mid 90s, whatever, right? But the brand new copies of In Utero on CD still look like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they never changed it ever for any re-releases or whatever, unless it was obviously they got a bigger, kind of set, whatever. But which I think just happened now. But like this still looks like this in the brand new wrapper. So you could get faked out at some points thinking you're buying an old copy of this and you're not. So
yeah, you can't always rely on that. There is a lot of still new pressings that still come with the old tray.
Yes.
So yeah, you just kind of have to do your context clues if you can't look at the CD. Look at the case, look at the wear and tear. Obviously, if the label is different, that helps. Like the recent Slayers I bought, they're actually deaf. They're not American yet. So that's how you can tell. You can do the context clues that way. But yeah, you are correct. Yeah, those usually those black trays will help you, but not always.
Yeah.
These next two, I'll just do them together. I got some more cassettes. These two I bought as together. I've got Carcass with Necroticism. Really cool Carcass album. English grindcore death metal band. Really great. And then I have one of their EPs, Tools of the Trade. It's also from the nights. This one, if I remember right, it's like a $30 to $40 bill on Discogs.
Okay.
So, like I said, I don't mind buying this stuff at Zia for a premium. I think these might have been like $20 a piece, because they're going to be more online usually, and this shit's just going to go up. Like, this is the format that people wanted to collect death metal on, and grindcore and thrash and all that. So, added some Carcass to the collection, so can never go wrong there. Some great English lads.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was stoked to find those, and they're really clean. So yeah.
No, that's badass. All right. So continuing that same Goodwill haul. So for $1, got Korn debut. Again, it's
nice.
gotta be the same guy. Like these all are on the same vein, So I'm saying probably mid 90s copy there. Again, I'm not looking at the Deadwax, if you will. So I know you can find out, but I just haven't done
the Matrix. It's a Matrix.
The Matrix. There you go, the Matrix. So I got that. I don't own this record on any format right now. I don't own this on vinyl.
Oh wow.
I don't obviously not tape or anything else. This is my first time ever owning the first Korn record, and I did listen to this like when I got home. This is weeks and weeks and weeks ago at this point, maybe a month or two ago. But I was off that day, and I remember coming home, and I put my haul in the good old the good old CD changer there, and let them roll. So I was pretty stoked on that. Listened to it a couple times, and listen, the first Korn record, just saying, it's gonna put him in Hall of Fame. Okay, that's what it
It's
does.
94, right?
It is 94.
Yeah, it's so ahead of its time. That first record's interesting. It's not my favorite. I probably like Follow the Leader more. And I like even like Untouchables and stuff too. Like over
Issues though.
Issues is good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that first record's really interesting. And it's like different.
Yeah, even the weird stuff on there, like the Korn weirdness, like they were the ones doing it. They were doing the weirdness, and everybody else did the weirdness after that. So like they were the trendsetters, and then everybody else, were for the next 8 years almost were just trying to chase that sound in one way or another. Ross Robinson, so just nutso, absolutely nutso.
Yeah, 100%. This next one, I actually got from Mr. Tyler. So Gary Moore with his After the War album. This is 88. And really nice copy there. He picked this up at a Goodwill for me, which is a really weird Goodwill find. But it's really cool.
You want to know what's funny? What? I found another one.
This same record?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, this is like still his like hard rock metal-ish kind of era. This is before he went, straight blues. Don't know anything about Gary Moore, Irish guitar player. Did some stuff with Thin Lizzy back in the day. A lot of solo stuff. Really amazing guitar player. Underrated singer too. This is a really good record. I like basically all his 80s stuff I've enjoyed. So yeah, Gary Moore, After the War, really cool to have that on cassette. I have it on cassette and vinyl. So if I find the CD copy, I can format complete that.
What year is that?
88.
88, yeah. So yeah, that probably is the extent of that format. So you could do it. You do it pretty easily. There you go. No, yeah, it was cool. I ran into that another copy maybe a week ago. And I was like, I picked it up and I was like, this is the same thing I just got, or whatever. Because I saw the name on there again, and I was like, am I gonna get him another tape here? And then it was the same record, and I was like, all right, I guess this is the one that frequents the Goodwills, So there you go. Yeah. I've gotten lucky with tapes at Goodwills. At least the one over there on Bell, that's the one that I've gotten lucky at. I haven't gotten lucky anywhere else at Goodwill for tapes, really. Except for the one out, surprise, that is the one that I did pocket the hoodie at, so shout out. So another one I got here, and I believe you already showed this off. It might be in your stack there, but I think you got it in the last haul video. I got a copy, Antichrist Superstar, Manson.
Without the slip too.
Well, exactly without the slip. So this obviously had a slip on there for obvious reasons. 96. They were not really wanting to put that out there like that. So it's. I mean, he does have like 3 records. So like that you could call the record probably, especially among his fans. But this is Beautiful People obviously on here. Tourniquet's on here. Angel with Scabbed Wings is on here. Antichrist Superstar is on here. So massive songs. And sold. Probably. I don't know. What do you think is sold? Probably like 5-6 million, maybe.
I'm gonna say like 3 times platinum.
You're gonna say that? All right. I mean, I'm not gonna argue with you. But very cool in here. What I don't like though, because again, that's another record that I listened to in the entirety of the booklet with the lyrics, because I was looking at the booklet and reading the lyrics when I was listening to this. They're all over the place. They're not in order by any means. You gotta keep flipping to the next page and the next page and like another thing just to read the lyrics of the next song. It's dumb. It's real dumb. So there you go. Manson trolling even back then. to a much different extent, maybe. But yeah, so it's cool. I mean, 90s Manson, he's the big bad. It's a big evil, so
The
there you
big
go.
bad.
He was the big bad, man. He was the guy.
Let's see here.
I'll split with this 4.
Last time it was certified was 96, and that it sold 1 million in 96. So no idea.
I don't know. Probably at least 3 then. At least what you said. I don't know.
I would say at least, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say
That's
you're good for at least 1 million a year for 2 or 3 years, because the follow-ups were equally as big, like Mechanical Animals and
Yep. Smells Like Children before that.
Hollywood, wasn't that one
Hollywood.
of them too?
Yep.
That was a pretty big record. So yeah.
And then Lest We Forget too, when the Greatest Hits came out.
Yeah. All those were $1. That was all at one Goodwill?
No, yeah. No, well, I have one more too.
Okay.
When he's knocked that one out.
Now let me finish up.
All right,
let me finish up my last 2 cassettes. I bought these together. This is the last time Tyler and I were at Zia. Steve Perry with Street Talk. This first solo album. I don't own this on anything yet. I don't find it on vinyl anymore.
We used to find it every day.
Yeah. I would like to get a clean vinyl copy again, but really cool cassette. It's actually different artwork. So they changed it a little bit and moved the logos around. Not just shrunk the LP down, which is nice. Really clean copy, clean case. And then this is probably the most excited I was about. This has no sold comps on Discogs. I don't know how much this honestly goes for, but it shouldn't have been in the $2. I got Unto Others with their EP, I believe, in Halloween. This came out in 2021. I just didn't order it for whatever reason. I probably would have ordered on vinyl, but I didn't. And I found this in the used for $2. So it's definitely worth more than $2. And I've never heard these songs before. They're not on streaming. So Anna and I listened to this a couple times the other night. It just kept repeating because the Kenwood has the reverse. So I just kept, because it's one song on each side. So just kept listening to it over. We listened to it like 5 or 6 times. So pretty cool. That's it for my cassettes.
That's nuts. So I don't know why it would ever have been in the normal section, I suppose, whatever you want to say, because like a new cassette from even a culty band or whatever, right? Like that's a handful of dollars all day at least. So a good handful and a half. So then putting in the $2 bin was a little bit of a shock.
Mm-hmm. I want to say it was probably like $10 maybe when it came out. So
and it's probably not been going down since then. So it's nuts though. All right, my last one from that same Goodwill haul here. And what I actually left stuff there. Like there was stuff that was way too cool for me. Like there was some Madball CDs. There was some older H2O CDs, like Earth Crisis. Like there was CDs for guys that were way cooler than me. And so I left all that stuff there because I'm not a
I would have just bought all that and tried to turn it in. You would have got more than $1.
That's fair. Yeah, probably so. So big fan of New York hardcore and stuff like that, right? So, or East Coast hardcore. But one of the other, and I did look this up because I was like, I wonder if this has been re-released, and it has, but there's no change here. The first Thrice record, Thrice Identity Crisis.
Wow.
So it's 2002, right? Yeah. 02. 01, lied to you, 01. And also there's a misspelling on the back. Ignition is misspelled, so I think this is worth a handful of dollars. And I've actually never heard this record before. I did listen to a little bit of it. It was about this at this point. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm gonna move on and do something else, whatever. But so I made it through all the other records, but this is the record that I stopped at. And early Thrice is obviously a lot heavier than what later Thrice would be, and then they just got more more just alternative and not pop punky, but like just different, like emo sound or whatever you want to say, post hardcore, whatever. But a lot of this stuff is just straight up hardcore metal, so like in certain ways. So like I've not listened to this entirely, but I do know it exists. I know it exists on vinyl too. I think it's gotten posted up a few times for represses and stuff. So Yeah, so Thrice, Identity Crisis, for $1. Even if I hadn't listened to it, I'll pick up a Thrice CD at that point. So there you go.
That's a damn good haul.
Yeah, same deal, man. I was let me make sure. Yeah, same deal. So F&A.
That's a damn good haul. Alrighty. I'm gonna do a book, and I probably should do this first because I'll probably talk about this the most tonight. Been reading it. Just came out last Friday. Geddy Lee's autobiography, My Effing Life. I'm about halfway through. Easily one of the best books I've ever read. I'm not even saying that as a mark either. Like it's a great book. I'd say even if you're not a fan of the band or a fan of music, I think you could read that book and be really entertained. You could tell too, it does have another credit in here, but I could tell that he wrote this. It's definitely not ghost written. I think the other credit was probably just somebody who helped put it together. It's definitely not ghost written. 100% not. It's definitely in Geddy's voice. You can tell when you're reading it. The thing too is a lot of the books that we've talked about this before is they're going to be, whatever, 300 pages. And then like half the book is me growing up to 18. And then I joined the band. And then
wasn't that Geezer's book?
We run through. Yeah. Geezer's book's pretty small. I haven't finished reading that yet, but, it's not bad. Definitely not as good as this, but, this Geddy does this really well because like the first chapter is like his kind of growing up chapter. He talks about his dad, and it mostly revolves just about his dad dying when he was 12 or 11, and like how that affected him and stuff like that, and how it affected the family. And then there's one whole chapter dedicated to both of his parents, and even says like, I know you just want to read about Rush, but I can't really tell the story of Rush or myself without telling the story of my parents. So he does a whole chapter dedicated to his parents and them growing up in World War II in Poland and all the camps that they were in, and he does it so well. It's like it's honestly really impressive because he talks about his dad. His dad died when he was young, and he never really talked about anything that happened. His dad never really talked about that period of his life. His mom would talk about the stuff all the time, though. So he has a lot of his mom's history and stories. Also his aunt, also his uncle, basically his whole family on both sides were involved. So he has a lot of those stories from extended family as well. But what he does when he's doing the book and like telling his mom's story, he actually puts in other references to other books, like about World War II or about this camp or whatever. So he pieces together other eyewitnesses with his mom's story. That way it lends even more, not that his mom would lie or whatever, but he even talks about like survivor's bias and like kind of misremembering things and stuff like that. So he wants to like lend as much credibility as he possibly can to it. So he includes a lot of outside references outside of just his mom telling the story to him. Which I really appreciate. And the way he puts it together is really, it's like you're reading a book about World War II. It's like the guy should just write a book about that. Like, and I would read the whole thing. Like I would read an entire book about his mom's life. If he ever wanted to read it. I was telling Anna the other night, like if they ever wanted to do a movie and like sell the rights, it's such an amazing story. His mom's story and his dad's story as well, and how they met, and it's fascinating. So that's like a whole chapter on that, and it's fascinating because they shouldn't be alive. They should have never survived, and they did. And then obviously Geddy was born because of that. So really interesting. And then you get into early Rush. I'm into basically just when Neil joined the band. I'm basically up to Caress of Steel, so I'm 2 records into Neil's thing. That he does talk. I'm learning new stories too that I haven't heard before. He talks about when Rutsy left the band, and like Rutsy basically, like, Getty even never even talked to him after he left. He never even like knew why he left.
Oh wow.
He just like Rutsy just went to Ray Daniels and like, I'm done. I don't want to do this. So like Getty only has his assumptions. Like the last time they were in a room together was in '76 at Getty's wedding.
Wow.
That's the last time they were all ever in a room together. And that was obviously a weird time too, because 2112's, happening.
Yeah.
So Rush is becoming actually Rush. So he talks about, like, I don't know what John was really feeling about them, because they never talked about any of that. They were never really close, which is really weird because John's dad died when he was like 11. So he thought that they would have that kind of in common.
A kinship of sorts.
Exactly, but they were just never him. And I guess John and Alex were more close because John and Alex were in a band before, and but yeah, it's a great book. It's well written. You're learning new shit, and yeah, I read that, dude. I was glued to that chapter with his mom, and he like references shit too in the book, like, oh, go watch this on YouTube. Like, this is really cool. So he references, because his mom and his grandmother and his aunt were in Bergen-Belsen. They went from Auschwitz to Bergen-Belsen when the war was, when basically they knew they were losing. They transported like basically anybody in the camps into Germany proper. And his mom and his aunt and his grandmother ended up in Bergen-Belsen. And he talks about, yeah, I found some footage online of the BBC when the British finally invaded and took over the camp. They like had a crew there and were shooting. It's obviously it's the most intense footage you'll ever see, but it was fascinating because like the BBC's there doing interviews with like SS guards and shit, and they're interviewing prisoners. It's obviously some of the most gnarly footage ever, because there's just, the bodies were just piling up at that point, and they were making all the SS guards, throw bodies in the ditches, and it's a really crazy watch, but it's really cool that he references that stuff. I don't know if his mom's in the footage. I was trying to like spot somebody who looked like him. He didn't mention that, but I'm like, maybe he just didn't catch it, because it's a lot of footage, and it's all recolorized on, somebody recolorized it and put it on YouTube. So it's really intense. But he even does that for Rush. Like, he talks about, like, we did this TV appearance. It's on YouTube. Go check it out. This is our first TV appearance and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I've been stopping and going back and watching stuff when he references it and trying to find stuff. There's been a couple things I couldn't find that he referenced. So that kind of sucks, but it might still be out there somewhere. I just couldn't find it in my search. So it's an awesome read, man. I'm excited to keep reading it, and especially when you get to the end too, because obviously you're going to be dealing with a lot with Neil and what Neil was going through in the end of the band and stuff. There's going to be a lot of stuff in there that probably fans have never heard before. So
no, for sure. I mean, that sounds insane. I mean, he's a very like thorough guy. Like that big book of bass, like that's like, there's so much in there from what I know and what I've seen. There's so much in there, like just nerd, like history and everything else. Like it's the big book of bass, like it is, right? So like he's very thorough and he really wants to get everything out there. And then when you said that it's like 500 pages, whatever, 600 pages.
It's
like,
it's 500 roughly.
Yeah, that's what I want that, because anybody that has like he has 50 years, of like things that I personally care about, right? Like, or you in this case, right? There's 50 years of relevant information plus all the family stuff. Like, I want a good, healthy, amount of the book dedicated to everything. So it's good that he did that and, decided to put that much effort into it, because a lot of people don't necessarily do it all the time, and they get ghostwriters.
Have you ever heard? I don't remember him telling the story in the movie, in the doc, Beyond the Lighted Stage. Did you ever hear the story about how his parents actually met?
No, I don't know the story.
So basically, when their town got invaded and they got put into different work camps, um, his mom got put into a camp, and his dad got put into a different camp. And um, his mom, this a Polish person, kept trying to give his mom bread, and they would. She obviously thought it was a trap or whatever. This person's trying to blackmail her or whatever, and um like it's kept going on for like days, and eventually um his dad just approached. There was like a fence that was like kind of adjoining,
Yeah.
and his dad got the opportunity to just approach her and ask like, why aren't you taking the bread? And she's like, oh, it's she finally realized it was his dad liked her, so he was giving his bread to her, but it was through the Polish person because he didn't want to
Yeah.
approach her, obviously, for fear of his life. And
Yeah.
that's how they met. He liked her,
Wow.
was trying to give her extra food. And like there's
Wow.
just crazy stories in there how they got separated, and because they actually ended up going to Auschwitz together, and then they got separated, but then they ended up back together after they got liberated and
Jesus.
freed. And because they were in completely different camps, like his dad didn't go to Bergen-Belsen and after Auschwitz,
Yeah.
and they were both in Auschwitz, and his dad was in the male side of it. And obviously his mom and his grandmother and his aunt, who also never got it separated. It's even more crazy. They never got separated. There's
Yeah.
so many stories in there how they didn't get separated. It's insane. Um, and his mom had, and Bergen-Belsen, his mom had typhus for about a month,
Jesus.
and she was basically dead. And his grandmother hid her mom, his mom, along with a nurse that
Yeah.
helped them. To that way, the guards didn't find out that she's dying. We can just kill her now. That went on for about a month, and there was a guard there that had a daughter, and he took like a liking, I guess, to his aunt, and was like felt regret. And one day his aunt just told the guard, like, yeah, my sister's sick. My sister has typhus. She's gonna die. The guard gave her antibiotics. That's how his mom survived. There's so
Wow.
many stories in there. That's why I'm like, this could be an amazing movie. And obviously, there's tons of stories out there. And obviously, this is important to me because it's Getty, but
Yeah.
he's famous. But obviously, there's probably a million, not a million, but a ton of stories out there of
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
survivors that did that stuff. But the fact that like one little thing could have changed, and that this story is not written. So
Yeah. No,
yeah,
100%. Like, yeah, there's a lot working against them just on the very logistical level there, right?
yeah,
Like, there's no reason why all that should have rhymed, and
yeah.
then they were able to stay together.
Yeah, they got separated right after Auschwitz. So his dad ended up going somewhere else, and he actually didn't find out what camps his dad went to until way later. And because his mom died, and his sister was going through his mom's stuff, and she found a list of camp names, and it wasn't
Mm.
places that his mom had been. So he figured, okay, this is definitely my dad's stuff. And then he eventually tracked it and stuff and figured
Yeah.
it out that it was. So he found out all that stuff way later. But they got separated, and his dad got freed like a month after his mom. And when he got freed, he was actually with her brother in the same camp. And he would every day check the boards, like, okay, because they would write on the boards like, these people have survived, these people have survived, these people, because it was easier to do that than tell you who died.
Yeah. Yeah.
So eventually he saw their names flash up.
Yeah.
His Getty's mom and her mom and her sister on the board, and that's like, oh shit, they're alive. And then he left his area and went because I think he was in a camp that the Americans freed. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's an absolutely crazy story. There's an escape story in there, like his mom, and when they were in their first camp, his mom um and I think one of her brothers and his dad and a couple other of the teenagers, they planned this escape, and his mom was going to go, and she ended up twisting her ankle in a struggle because his grandmother was trying to prevent her from going because she knew if she jumped that fence, she's likely going to die.
Yeah.
So there was like a struggle, and she ended up twisting her ankle, and she didn't leave. And they're waiting for everyone to show up, and his dad's there, and his mom didn't show up. So he's like, "Well, if she's not going, I'm not going." So he didn't
Yeah.
hop the fence. They hopped the fence, and like 2 out of the 3 ended up getting shot and dying immediately. So like if they would have hopped that fence, they could have been dead instantaneously.
Yeah. Yeah.
His I think it's one of his uncles did get away and ended up being in a Polish farmhouse for like the entirety of the rest of the war. So like another 2
Wow.
years, 2 or
Yeah.
3 years. Um, it's an absolutely insane story. They talk about her dad getting drug out of the house in the middle of the night and getting killed, and it's intense because her
Yeah.
dad was a butcher, and he would give people extra food, and then he got busted for that.
Yeah.
And it's intense. He has his grandfather's like prison sentence because they actually kept a paper trail
Oh
on him.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And they did it for a lot of people, but Getty talks about like they did way more for him, and he thinks he did that because he had some sort of stature. And they
Okay.
kept him around for like 2 years because they eventually kept finding more and more stuff. And he's like, I just didn't. He's like, he writes in the book, I didn't really understand why they kept him around so long, other than the fact that maybe he was of some sort of stature, so they didn't want to just kill him immediately.
Or skill
Um,
set or something, or like that's something they could utilize
yeah,
at some point. Yeah. No,
exactly.
that's
But eh,
no,
I don't want to go. Could
yeah.
talk about this all night. It's absolutely intense. Just I could talk about just his mom's story all night and his dad's
Yeah.
story. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the I mean, not to go super deep, but like that's like the really unfortunate, obviously, but like the insane thing about the entire Holocaust is that there was so much documentation done for everybody, right?
Mhm.
And so like I mean, I'm sure there are some people that were lost, but a lot of folks, most folks, I dare I say almost everybody was accounted for at some point or another, and they were intense, bookkeepers and note takers, and it's I think
Yeah, they
I could be lying to you, but I think did Getty do a search in relation to a Canadian television show, or am I lying to you, or is it maybe that Alex? I want to say one of the members of Rush, and I thought it was Getty, did like the whole like tracing thing or whatever, like My Family History or one of those kind of shows.
okay.
I think that he did that, or one of the
I don't
members of
know.
Rush did. But obviously you found all you can find it out if you have
Yeah,
money and
sure.
means or whatever, right? But I
Yeah.
think he did that. But yeah, it's a crazy thing when they open up
They,
those files, man. It's real crazy.
yeah, they in that footage, the BBC footage, they go in there and they start going into like the record keeping and shit, and it's ridiculous. That
Yeah,
footage is crazy if you've never seen it.
yeah,
It's really well shot, and it's really creepy because they have a lot of the prisoners like out there, and
yeah,
they're just yelling at all the SS guards, which is fine, like whatever. I'm not like whatever defending that at all. It's just
yeah,
eerie. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it's very like it's almost like, oh, we're here filming this, so stand here and yell at them. And it's obviously
yeah,
very intense, and they have every right to, but
yeah.
it's very crazy because a lot of the guards are just like 22. There's like a 23-year-old kid, and it's just like Jesus Christ, man. It's just like a lot, such a loss of humanity.
Yeah.
Like on it's crazy.
One of the I might suggest you or other folks if they want to see some insane stuff. So they opened up the files and started digitizing them because they were closed in Germany for years.
Mhm.
The files were for years and decades, and in the 90s they finally opened them up, and then the early 2000s started digitizing them, and
Okay.
so like they want to maintain them, right? Obviously, and 60 Minutes went in there. I want to say like 2003 or so, and they brought two survivors, and they were little kids in the camps, and they found their files in the files, in the libraries or whatever, right? And they found their file, and they found their actual sign-in docs, and they gave them the docs, and they literally showed where he obviously has no necessarily, I don't know, he might remember this, I don't remember, it's been a few years, but it shows him as like a 6-year old 7-year old kid writing his name on the paper and signing it when he got admitted into the camp. And he didn't know what he was looking at. He's like, what is this? Like, this is your name. This is you signing the book for your admissions to the camps, you know, or whatever. And obviously they both just like broke down. They were like, so it's a very intense, obviously a very intense thing. And it's just crazy to see your documentation that you signed when you were a little tiny kid and you have no recollection of it. And it was, you know, obviously among the biggest travesties ever, you know, in history. It's crazy, man. Crazy deal.
They ended up going back in 95. They did like a 50-year thing at Bergen-Belsen, and they ended up going back with his mom, and they actually were eating dinner in one of the officers like barracks. It's one of the few buildings that they actually didn't level at Bergen, and they're actually eating dinner in there, and his mom was just like, oh yeah, this is where we got married, because when his dad went back and found them, you know, they're just hanging out in the camp because it's like, it just turned into a different kind of camp, you know? And it's like, what do we do? So they were there for like a year. They ended up getting married there at that camp. And then they ended up leaving and going back to Poland. And obviously their house was just, you know, taken over by Polish people. And they were just like, okay, now we got to move. So that's how they moved to Canada. But yeah, it's just a really crazy story. They're like, oh, this is where we got married. And Getty's like, holy shit, you know, this is where this started. Yeah, absolutely crazy read. That's a crazy chapter. It's a great book too, man. Like some of the just hearing all the stories. There's good stories too that I haven't heard about them touring with Kiss and shit and hanging out with those guys. So the early days. That's interesting.
No, 100%. No, I'm stoked on that. I'm stoked that he finally put a book out, and you know, we're in about a year and a half or so, we're gonna get the first dates for the Rush tour.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So next one I got here. I think this is about right for my timing here. I got if I find it for $1, whatever. I have this. Or no, I don't have this. I don't actually own this on it. Oh, well, I do. I have this on vinyl. I do have this newly on vinyl, but I'll buy the CD. Alan Jackson Greatest Hits. This is the first ever tour, first ever concert I ever saw in my life was this tour for the first Greatest Hits. So 95 has all the songs, obviously, that you want at that point. There you go for the AJ fans. Mom had this, obviously. She had the cassette too. I guess I don't have it. You know, I don't have her cassette version of this, or maybe she might have got rid of that at some point, but she had everything. So she had the CDs. So I had her CDs at some point too, a copy of this. But then one of the years here when she came over, I was like, do you want your CDs back? And then she was like, yeah. And so she just took back all her CDs that I put in a box somewhere. But for $1 in a really nice, you know, condition, I'm never going to, you know, say no to that. And like Alan Jackson, I guess to a certain extent, if I find the records of the CDs, not the records of the CDs, I'll find the CDs and the cassettes for the records that mean something to me that I remember when I was a little kid, when I was still like listening to this stuff, my mom, whatever, I'll buy them. But the Dwight stuff and the AJ stuff, like when I find it all, I'll pull it out and I'll buy it, especially for $1. So first tour ever, first show ever, first favorite artist ever, first bit of music that I ever came across or like committed to memory was listening to this Greatest Hits on CD and memorizing the words, even though I didn't know what I was actually saying. A lot is wrapped up in this dude and these songs. So there you go, Alan Jackson Greatest Hits Volume 1 on CD.
Yeah, I always enjoy buying the stuff that you had the format, like you had that on CD, you know, back in the day, or your parents did or whatever. So it's one thing to own it on vinyl after the fact when they issued it on vinyl, but it's one thing to actually still own the CD. So
totally,
it's good to go back. These two I got a couple weeks ago. Finally came in. So the Metallica M72 stuff. So this is night 1 here in Phoenix, and then night 2 here in Phoenix. So you don't know about Metallica, they put all their shows out available digitally and physically, so you can buy literally any show you want, which is the absolute sickest thing ever. You know, I told Tyler, you know, one day we were listening to them, and I was like, they have no right to sound this good. Like, this was like from show to me getting it was like a month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's quick. I'm like, some of these sound better than actually like produced and like thought out live albums that I have, you know?
Oh
They're
yeah.
absolutely crazy bands, and it's really cool to own entire shows in an official capacity on a physical format that I attended. So
Yeah. No, 100%. Metallica, like they're just, it's just different. Metallica just is at a different level than every other band, and you can include the whatever band you're talking about, the biggest bands in on the planet ever. You know, you can include Metallica on there every time, and they're doing more than what most bands do, and and obviously the money grab, whatever. But the fact that they're obviously paying, you know, they have their production team, whatever, recording and professionally producing every show they do every night, it's nuts. Nobody else really does that. Like, I know Pearl Jam has a bunch of boots out there. I'm sure their bands do, but like Metallica is a big band with that. They make sure, and they have all of their shows, or like
yeah,
95% of their shows dating back to like the late 80s, right? Like, it's, and they try to put them out there. They put a ton out on YouTube for the pandemic stuff. Like, it's crazy what that band does.
yeah, yeah. It's really cool.
Very cool.
I had to have
All right.
I had to have it.
Hey, you know, you had to have it. All right, another one I have here. The first Third Eye Blind record.
Nice.
Oh yeah, so another dollar spot. So I'm at $1, unless it's something crazy. I'm at
Okay.
$1 for CDs at Goodwill or Savers. Like, I have my next little bit here are Savers CDs, and I got them because they were $1. It was on a Monday or a Tuesday, whenever they do that. I
Half
bought them
price.
on that day, a half price day. So I got them for $1, so it was in my
Gotcha.
wheelhouse. So Third Eye Blind, the first record, it's, I mean, it's their first 3 records are like really good, but this is the one that, you know, probably most songs on here. This is Semi Charmed Life, so like this is the one if you want that. But Losing a Whole Year, Narcolepsy, Semi Charmed Life, Jumper, Graduate, How It's Gonna Be, you know, that's just a Motorcycle Drive By. Like, those are the first 6, and then Motorcycle Drive Bys on the tail end here. But absolutely crazy big songs on here. There's a reason why they're still playing Sheds today, you know, like they just, it's crazy. Stephen Jenkins is a weirdo, but them doing this, or is it Stephen Jenkins? Is it Jenkins, or is it Stephen? I think it's Stephen Jenkins.
He's
But
weird.
weirdo. Oh yeah, I think I've told you the story before. Jimmy Eat World toured with them 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. They were the main support for them. And because Jimmy Eat World plays anybody anymore, like, and they're not headlining, they're going to be a way bigger band than they are. And Third Eye Blind they're a way bigger band than Jimmy Eat World is. So they were doing main support, and Zach, the drummer, waited for the day they got off the tour to just start shooting on them on Twitter. So basically, he said that they were the cockiest people like ever, specifically Stephen Jenkins. They refused to wear identifiers and like badges, or like you know, tour laminates or whatever. And they made sure at every security door that they had a picture. They had a piece of paper with their pictures on there, and in the middle it said, like, in big bold letters, it said, these men will not identify themselves or will not be wearing laminates. Learn these faces. And so they did that whole thing. They just were dicks to him just throughout the tour. And then
Gotcha.
Zach said, like, he started shooting him on him because also Steven like stole the band, sort of, kind of Axl Rosed it. And at a certain point, and he calls him out for that. And then Zach starts going back and forth with fans, like, because fans would be like, I thought, you know, I always really liked Steven or whatever, and he's doing this and doing that. And like, Zach didn't say anything like super like salacious necessarily. It was all just, they're cocky dicks. Like, they're
Gotcha.
just dicks. So like, I think he might have maybe didn't dispute an accusation of creepiness with Steven, but he did not spread anything out there. He just,
Okay.
said they were dicks and wouldn't tour them again, really. So there you go. Even with that in mind, for a good price, would still see a Third Eye Blind tour. I've never seen them live, so
I always thought that album cover should be like for a way heavier band. It looks like it should be like a Nine Inch Nails album cover or something, or like a
Yeah,
Manson album cover or something.
the red and the guy's hand over the face, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
way more intense, right?
yeah.
And for this band, you're right. So there you go. The Red Blind first record.
This next one is probably it's the most recent CD I have from Tyler, Monsters of Rock, Volume 2.
Didn't know you were gonna put this out here. Okay.
Yeah, you got Slaughter, White Lion, Scandal, Asia, Firehouse, Nelson, Trickster, Yes, The Outfield, Vixen, Danger, Danger, Cutting Crew, Enough's Enough, Rainbow, Aldo Nova, and Brittany Fox. Who doesn't belong on there?
Yes. Well, yes, literally yes, and also Rainbow does not belong.
Yeah, a couple. Well, yeah, a couple.
Yeah. Also, the Outfield doesn't belong. Like, because the vein they were trying to go down was like 80s,
yes,
early
doesn't
90s
make
metal.
sense.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yes, doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Asia.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I could understand Asia to a point, I suppose, but not when you like the first one, because me and you and anybody else watching this, more than likely, grew up with those infomercials. So like we saw them all the time, and I want to tell you without looking at the first track listing, but more than likely the Monsters of Rock CD compilation volume 1 features very heavily the 80s hair metal. Like I'm going to go ahead and guarantee that, right? And then I don't know if they didn't get the proper licensing for more than what they already have on there, but like it's already getting mid-card at best bands on there, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Yes and Asia are giant bands.
Sure.
They just don't fit.
No,
neither does Rainbow.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're on to like Enough's Enough, Danger, Danger. Yeah.
What's
Scandal.
the Danger song? Is it Bang Bang?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That Aldo Nova song, Fantasy, that's kind of a cool song.
But, I don't think I know that song.
You probably would know it. I didn't know the name of it until like this year. Like, oh, that's the name. That's who does it. All right. So yeah, Monsters of Rock, Volume 2. Be kind of fun to collect these. I don't want to, but it'd be kind of fun to like collect some of these like monster ballads, Monsters of Rock. Like,
I don't know
how many are good.
I definitely have Monster Ballads Volume 1 somewhere. Like nice. I absolutely definitely have that. So or maybe Volume 2 actually, but I have a Monster Ballads, and those are the ones that like, and if we found Buzz Ballads, I would buy that as well.
Ooh.
And like, to be honest with you, they could definitely be at Zia right now. We just haven't looked or like haven't like, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if we find them, if we happen to find them out in the wild, especially at a Goodwill for $1, I'm okay with spending that dollar on that one. So, there you go. It's pretty good. But yeah, if we find any more, I'm down to buy them. There you go. All right, these are all the same haul as that Monster Ballads, actually, or Monsters of Rock. Same haul, pretty big. Another massive late 90s, early 2000s record, and one of the biggest acts of the time. One Mr. Bob Ritchie, Kid Rock, and this is Devil Without a Cause.
Wow.
So really nice copy of this, and like, listen. The time there's this record, Blah Blah Blah, Cowboy, Devil Without a Cause, I'm a Bull God. Like those are the first 4 songs on the record. Only God Knows Why, another huge song. It's like Somebody's Gotta Feel This, another one. I think it was a single at some point. Like Welcome to Party, I think it's another one. Exactly. Like there's how many songs on here? There's 14 songs, and 5 or 6 of them are songs that So massive record, probably sold 5 million copies. He was one of the biggest artists in music and still sells tickets right now. Oh, it's Diamond? Really? Nice.
I'm pretty sure we've done this. Pretty sure it's Diamond. But
have we done the Kid Rock dive? Okay.
Yeah.
I've never owned this. I don't own the vinyl. They did put them out there at some point. Neither of us bought any, but now to be honest, I don't think I've seen one in quite a while.
14 million.
All right, there you go. Shout out Bob Ritchie there in Detroit. Ball to Ball also, like, I I can't tell you, Ty, how vividly I remember when that was one of the biggest videos in the world. Like, I remember
Mm.
watching us on TRL and having him do appearances and go on there and this and that. And he played all the MTV spring break shows. And then obviously the blow off, he played Woodstock 99 and he was one of the big
Yeah.
guys on there. And that to this day, like, I'm not a massive Kid Rock fan by any means, but like, I'm not denying the fact the 5-6 songs on here are songs that you like and you were going to listen to or whatever, right? So like if I can find late 90s really nice conditioned, hard rock or metal, new metal, whatever, I'm gonna buy it every time. And especially just like just massive scene releases. Like this just was a big deal for every rock fan of the time. And he's still putting things out there today and he's still selling out amphitheaters right now. And I don't agree with certain things that Kid Rock, but what I will agree with is I do know that he does do his shed tours. I think he caps ticket prices on there, or at least he did a
Nice.
couple times.
Okay.
So like if you're a Kid Rock fan, I think it's like $25. You can go and you can find tickets and buy tickets for any Kid Rock show for $25. And that was like a big selling point for him, and like to try to still remain obviously relatable or whatever, right? And try to make sure he's still available out there for the fans. So shout out Kid Rock for that. And this Cocky and then History of Rock. I think it's not like a weird greatest hits. Like that's the one with American Badass on it, isn't it?
History of Rock is next. That's the second. That's the follow-up.
That's the second record.
It's a compilation. It is a compilation album. History of Rock. But that had the single American Badass. You know way too much about this.
No, because I remember when Taker had it and it would pop up in the bottom right. It would show you the album cover or whatever, right? And I remember seeing that all the time, every week on Raw, when SmackDown or whatever, right? So I just remember that very vividly. And like, I'm sure I've done a dive on Kid Rock more than a few and a half times, like knowledge wise or whatever. Cocky has some songs in there too. It's just not as good for my money than this. Like what's on Cocky?
Forever, Lonely Road of Faith, You Never Met a Mother Effer Quite Like Me.
No, that
Picture.
one, yeah.
Those were the singles. That was that's a 5 million seller.
The last two are the huge songs on there, right? Like Pictures with Sheryl Crow, like that's the.
Oh yeah.
Like I also remember that video playing on VH1 constantly. With Sheryl Crow, Rock and Hall of Famer. Do you everything aside, like and whatever.
Then the Kid Rock self-titled album came out and it's only platinum, so he had to fallen off.
That's the black cover.
Yeah, that's 03. Yeah.
Okay, so that's and then obviously the last two records. I think he had that's like the American.
Oh yeah,
Messiah or whatever it's called, something or other. I don't know.
Rock and Roll Jesus.
There you go. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, basically what I said. That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, American Messiah.
Yeah, that's what the samples and stuff on there or whatever.
Yeah, that has it's got Sweet Home Alabama and Warren Zevon.
Okay, everything aside, we both know odds are not going to happen for various reasons, right? But let's say that's not a thing. Do you think Kid Rock gets considered for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the new generation?
Like removing politics from it, which
we're just talking about like whatever the run that he had late 90s, early 2000s, and like what he does today and everything. He's still very relevant.
I would say, yeah, just because strictly those albums sold, and I don't know about influence though. I don't know, but as far as like albums sold and being able to remain relevant to like a certain audience, yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, because I feel like he has like enough of and it's okay. It is faux because he grew up as a rich kid and all this other stuff, right? So it is faux, but the appeal there and like his vibe and his whole thing, like being like the badass, trashy dude or whatever, like I feel like that still sells and that still appeals to obviously a vast majority of folks, all of his fans or whatever, right? A lot of folks. So like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I know it's not going to happen, but like if we were doing it, if we're doing it and we're putting in late 90s guys, I guess, and you want to put in Kid Rock, I'm not going to fight you on it necessarily. Like I can have my feelings about it. And like, if you, I guess if we're putting Kid Rock in, I would argue for 15 people, 20, 30 people before I'd argue for Kid Rock, but I wouldn't fight you on it.
I think Korn has the only shot, honestly, but
we've talked about this, yeah.
They should be the only ones of that ilk, I guess.
Well,
but
and then Slipknot, we talked about that.
I actually think Korn will never get in. I actually think the band that will actually get in will be Linkin Park. But you should put in Korn way before Linkin Park. But yeah,
I think Linkin Park goes the next year.
Jeez, wow,
yeah.
That's crazy. Wow. Rush Power Windows. I'm on my quest to find random Rush pressings of CDs. This is the West Germany pressing.
So weird.
Which I guess is kind of ironic.
True.
In a weird way. So yeah, Rush Power Windows. West German. I have a couple West German pressings of Rush albums, actually. So there you go. I'll keep it going.
From different places too, right?
What do you mean different stores?
Like different stores, yeah.
Yeah, different Zias, yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah, not from the same Zias. I don't know.
Because you do have at least a couple Canadians, no?
I think I only have one. I think I only have Roll the Bones. The Canadians are always the hardest to find, and they're the ones people want.
That's
especially the early ones, especially the early CDs. They're supposedly always the best. So,
okay,
I
mean, that's a. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would prefer, if I had a choice, I would prefer to get, I guess, the Canadian pressings just to get homeland pressings, right?
I would too, but then I just kind of fell into this trap of buying random ass pressings of this is crazy countries.
But you would buy old American pressings though too, wouldn't you, or no?
I do, yeah, I have some.
Yeah. So you just happen to run into them. All right, another same trip. I got two. I got second to last one left here. So I got Neil Young Unplugged. Obviously, Unplugged was the biggest thing in music for a lot of the 90s, early 2000s, one of the biggest things. And Neil did it in I think it was 91. I want to say 93. Wow, I do 93. So has Neil songs on here. It has Buffalo Springfield songs on here. He plays the songs you want, a lot of them at the very least. You got Mr. Soul. You got Pocahontas. You got Like a Hurricane. Needle Damage Done. Helpless. So some CSNY stuff as well. Harvest Moon, which is a brand new song at the time. And then you got Unknown Legend, another big song from that record. Then you got Long May You Run, and then From Hank to Hendrix, another song for him. So I've listened to this a couple times. I like Neil's entire thing. Like I like the entire thing. I like his look. I like his sound. I like his voice. I like his attitude. Like I dig Neil. So like even like I think this is the resurgence. This is when like Pearl Jam, like he got really, because he's the godfather of grunge, right? So like Pearl Jam, like they were massive Neil fans. He went in the Hall of Fame here around this time too, and Pearl Jam came up and they did Rockin' the Free World and stuff. Like this was a resurgence for him at the time, early 90s. It was very relevant. I mean, he's still relevant to a certain extent now, but like this is when he was really like happening. And MTV did the Unplugged. So for $1, old pressing of this, I have seen this a couple times, maybe out in the wild of my life, maybe, and I just never thought about it. But for $1, not gonna not pick it up. So there you go, Neil Young.
That's a cool find. I didn't even know that existed. I didn't know he ever did MTV Unplugged.
Yeah.
Alrighty, moving on to my world. I saw this at I think Thunderbird and was like, yeah, I'll buy that. and I found out this is still cool, but not as cool as I thought it was. It's Death with Human. This is their 1991 album. This is a 96 reissue. So
okay.
It's still cool. It's still before everything started getting remastered and stuff. So that is cool, but it's not as cool as finding a one from 91. So Death, Human, seminal death metal band. One of the best.
Yeah, because that's
the name.
Like priority. There you go. That's one of the other things like that I think you more than me, but also like myself as well for certain things. Like you want to find the older releases because it's before because for various I think we've explained it before, for various bands the remasters re-releases have been done so many times for certain ones, and tracks have been added, taken off, remixed, re-guitared, things added, things taken away, bass parts, everything else being replaced. So like and then a lot of the times the remaster or the re-release or whatever is the one that's on streaming.
Yeah, and part of it too is like I have this on vinyl. I have a reissue on vinyl, but it's a remaster. So, like if I'm fine with that, I'm never going to own the original pressing on vinyl. So I'm cool with owning that on vinyl, and I'm cool with owning this on CD. It's the closest to that original sound it is. I'll get so, kind of the best of both worlds, so to speak. So,
no, 100%.
Especially for stuff like that where I'm probably never going to find original pressing out in the wild. I'm never going to want to spend the money that it's going to take to order one. So there you go.
There you go. All right. This is an impulse buy, and this is a massive band that neither one of us have really dove into on any level whatsoever, but they're a massive band. It was just in the pile, and I was like, sure, maybe this is my first record for them for some reason. And it's not the proper era, but regardless, Depeche Mode, Exciter. So nice. This is the 01 record. I don't, off the top of my head, like I don't really know anything on here. Do you?
No, not at all. I actually did the same thing at Savers, one of my big Savers haul, because there was a Depeche. I showed it off earlier on the channel a few months ago, but there was a Depeche Mode singles collection, and I think that's a better way to start. So
yes, So I mean, honestly, because it's the same Savers, it could have been the same guy, but they just didn't put out all of his CDs all at one time. Like whatever.
Yeah, possibly.
Or
somebody came back and turned in the rest of them or some shit.
Sure, exactly. So it was just in the pile, and like I wasn't gonna buy. Like I don't know, like $6. I don't care, but like I think there was something else that I put back. I was like, no, never mind. Like I put back 5150 because I already have 5150 on CD.
I would have bought it.
Like I have the CD, so like I still have the case.
I don't have it on CD.
Okay, well, I could have given it to you, I guess. All right, cool. All right, well, sorry, I'm a bad friend. I apologize. Probably I'm a bad friend. I should have been thinking about your CD collection here, even though I do sometimes. So there you go. But yeah, I had 5150 in my hand. I didn't do that, and then
gotcha.
Something else too that I put back because again I had it. So there's that. Ooh, actually, I forgot I have another pickup. So
okay, cool.
I'll get it after I get this. But so. Exciter, Depeche Mode. I'll dive in at some point. I don't know. I just know they're a massive deal to a lot of people, and I think both of us have just been not there for it for whatever reason. So there you go.
What the fuck was I watching? And they played a Depeche Mode song, and I'm like, this is a fucking cool song, and I can't remember. And I think it was. I was doing research for when we did research for greatest hit songs.
Okay.
And that they had a song that came up, and I'm like, this is a cool song. And that's on that singles collection. So that
would have been a massive sleeper pick for you.
It really would have. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Moving on here.
Yeah, you go. I'm gonna grab CD.
All right. Picked up a live record. Super stoked to get this. This is not on vinyl, so and this is actually a really interesting live record too. Queensryche with Live Evolution. This has 2 discs, but it's 4 different suites. So you have a EP and Warning suite, so they just play songs from those 2 things, and then you have a Rage for Order and Mindcrime suite, so they just play those songs. and then you have an Empire and Promised Land suite, and then you have a Here in the Now Frontier and Q2K suite. So
Ooh, wow.
kind of a great mix of all the different Queensryche eras up to that point. They sound great. I think I want to say some of these are hometown shows, if I remember right in the liner notes. Could be wrong, but it's a really awful album cover. It's like, I don't know, they're like in alien vats, like the Tri-Reichs in there, and then it's like the bad bad CG in the thing.
AI before AI.
And it's got like these naked people in there, and yeah, exactly, AI before AI. Yep, 100%. So yeah, cool live record though. They sound good on it, and it's just a cool representation of all the different eras.
No, yeah. What year is that?
This is 2001.
Okay, so that's fresh off the Q2K tour right there. So like,
Yes, this might have been the tour. Yeah,
might have been the tour. Exactly. So
yeah.
yeah, that's cool. So had you not known that existed previously?
I think I did in my research when I was trying to think like finding out what's on vinyl that I can buy.
Yeah,
And just
but
looking
didn't
at their
consciously look for anything.
different live albums, and this isn't on vinyl. So
Yeah,
I always try to check the Queensryche section too when we go to the record stores. So and that's the first time I saw that. So
FNA, love it.
yep.
All right, so from one of your favorite bands of all time to one of my favorite bands of all time. So I went out to one of the local antique antique malls we have here in town, and I didn't come out of there with too much, a CD and a baseball card, but it is something I've been looking for quite a long time here, because I don't actually have this. So I found an early version of Enema of the State, Blink 182. Shout out. I have. If we're just talking, like, I have 3 copies of this on CD in my apartment as we speak right now, and none of them have the Red Cross. That's the big thing. So the Red Cross, because they got sued for putting the Red Cross on there, because they just put the outfit obviously on there. And so the Red Cross, because they have that copyright or there's something, whatever, it could be government even, I have no idea, but like not allowed to use the Red Cross for commercial purposes. So the subsequent pressings, the hat is just entirely white. But also another thing that, so this is the 3rd pressing, I believe, of it, because there's other pressings where the B is capitalized and they wanted the B lowercase. So the ultimate first pressing, I believe, is a capital B with the Red Cross and the Red Cross taken away with the capital B. And then now this is the, Red Cross or lowercase b. So I guess the B is the first thing that took a hit, right? So the B, got lowercase, and the Red Cross came after him, and whatever. Original case with parental advisory sticker there. Legendary album cover, and I would like to hopefully come across. I'm not going to go out of my way to really purchase it and spend money on it necessarily, unless it's just like a handful of dollars, which I think it probably is. But if I can get every copy, every version of this album cover, because I already have the completely censored or whatever you want to say, version, but I would like to get the original and then get the intermediary and stuff. So there you go. Blink-182, Enema of the State, first or second pressing, I guess it would be, CD.
Yeah, that's a cool find. That's a good like subset to complete.
Yeah, $3. Couldn't argue with that price.
Yeah, definitely. I picked up this. We did 1973, so I wanted to have a little Allman Brothers represented. So I picked up Brothers and Sisters, Allman Brothers 73. So it's just a CD pressing. Cool. Allman Brothers is like kind of hard to find. Like they don't. The vinyl sections usually at our stores, they're very hardly ever at the Allman Brothers. I've been starting to look recently, and like you don't really find much anymore.
Interesting. I mean, you used to be able to like the big records would be in there all the time, like Live from the Fillmore East, and then also obviously Eat a Peach was also another big one in there, and Brothers and Sisters also another one. Like it's that stuff used to be in there all the time, but I think it's possible, I guess, right, that people are turning on to the Allman Brothers more, and their stuff is getting, because they probably have repressed it. They probably have, but I just haven't been conscious of it, maybe.
Yeah. I just started looking and it's you don't find a lot of used copies anymore, especially
That's
clean.
crazy.
So, yeah. I mean, all that shit's getting 50 years old. So,
Yeah, it's not getting any younger. That's true.
yeah.
Yeah, that's nutso. Shout out Allman Brothers. Eventually, I will also take that dive. I did watch way too much. Like 6 months ago, I watched an entire live set from like '74. So Dwayne's already gone. So I did watch that, and it was cool. I don't dislike the Allman Brothers. I know they are like, for you, they're the natural progression for Southern rock prog, enthusiasts or whatever, right? So
Sure, yeah.
that's a next chapter you can go down. So there's
Yeah.
that. All right, that's end for CDs, but I did get Corbin Carroll, Bowman's Best rookie card, Chrome.
Yeah.
So I
Good.
did get that. So shout out our rookie of the year, Corbin Carroll. Don't have any of that. All right, so for me on my end here, I have. I think I already showed that one off. So I got 4 LPs. All right, so Manchester. I have everything. Try to maintain every variant, and I do maintain every variant, but I try to keep that as complete as possible, as long as possible. And so they did a new variant for Rough Trade, which is the UK, I guess UK site store chain. And so very lucky though, Rough Chain has since established a New York store. So you can actually, so they do ship into the New York store. So you can buy UK stuff at the New York store. So you don't have to pay international shipping, which I have had done previously with them, which sucks, obviously. And so this did not run me nearly, just in regular. It's a little bit more expensive because of the color variant, but like, and like the regular is just $23 on Amazon whenever it's on there. So I think I paid $30 for this. But 2LP, it's on gray marble, fluorescent, I guess, not fluorescent, but see-through a little bit. Gray marble. So it's a new color variant, and glad to pick this up for not $85, which I think roughly I've paid before. So yeah, this is a record that sells out anytime it's in press. It's in press for a very short amount of time, and even the most, the black variant, will go out of press, and then they'll jump up to 110, 50, $30, whatever, at some point. Wow. So yeah, their stuff. So I think Loma Vista, their label, is putting more pressings out there for stuff, and putting, just more in the rotation, which is good, because then, people get the record or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I bought this. They also did another copy, a gray, the same, I think, same color variant for Million Mass of God, which is the last record, and I have not bought that yet. But I did a strategy play. Like, that's gonna stick around in the store for a little bit. This is not. Gotcha. This one's gonna go. So I knew, like, if I don't want to spend, because I think they want, for a single LP on that one, I think they want like $30 on there too. So yeah. I didn't really want to spend that much money for a single LP that I knew was going to be around for a bit, and they're probably going to discount it at some point, just because this record is much more in demand than what the newest one is, even though the new record is still really cool. So there you go. Million Mass of God, or Black Metal to the Surface, Manchester Orchestra, newest Rough Trade variant. There you go.
Does that feel daunting to have to try to keep up with it?
Yeah, no,
because if you fall behind, and you're like, if you get too many behind, you almost like.
So yeah, that's the thing. So people comment on my stuff because I run the page for it, right? So people comment and they're like, "Whoa, it's crazy!" And like, it is, but like, it's because I did it in the moment. Like, I didn't start this last year, and now I'm just trying to track everything down. Like, the only way you could actually do this is if you're doing it in the moment, right? So I just unfortunately made dumb decisions very early on, and then here we are. I actually have another thing too from them that is gonna clock off the list for whatever. So it is daunting, but because it's in the moment, it's a little easier. So there you go. All right, you go.
All right, let me finish my CDs. I got 4 more, that way I can get into my vinyl. So let me run through these CDs. So this is a record that came out last month. Might be my record of the year. I'll do that list next month on the channel. My 2023 albums of the year, top 10. This might be the top. It is. I've listened to it probably the most this year, just in a month, honestly. And that is Trevor Rabin with Rio. Trevor Rabin was in Yes. He did 90125. That was, obviously the big record he did with them. And I love that record. And when I heard this is his first vocal-led solo album in like 30 years. So he's singing on it. Trevor Rabin's a big soundtrack guy. He's big in Hollywood. You've seen movies that he's done soundtracks for. He actually did the theme songs too for like the NBA on TNT and also the MLB on TBS theme song. So he's you know Trevor Rabin shit without even knowing that you know it. So this record is very interesting. If you like that era of Yes, you're probably going to like this. But it has a lot of flavors of like Southern rock. There's banjo on this. It's very bombastic, like theatrical, soundtracky. Some of the songs even sound like kind of late 90s, like Disney era songs.
Oh, wow.
Like they kind of have that vibe to me. And that's not a bad thing. I just like that's the vibe I get from some of the stuff. This is the CD and Blu-ray set, so you get the Blu-ray on 5.1 surround. So wanted to pick that up. I do have it on vinyl too, which I'll show off. This has some bonus tracks on there too, so it's like the deluxe digipack. And the book is crazy because it goes into like all the different instruments that he plays on this, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Like the liner notes are so long. Yeah. This record though, like Trevor Rabin, guitar, lead vocals, bass, keyboards on all tracks, drums and percussion on tracks 3, 6, 7, and 8, mandolin on tracks 2, 4, 6, banjo and dobro on tracks 4 and 6, backing vocals on all tracks except 3. It's ridiculous, the liner notes in here. Dude's a genius. This record is awesome. Might be my record of the year.
Nice.
And Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar, Sex Magic. Picked this up at a Goodwill with Tyler.
Dollar spot.
Nice clean copy for $1. Might be, I'll say that for last. Pick this up, nice clean copy. Dragon Force first album, Valley of the Damned, one of my favorite albums by them. 03. So another anniversary album. These have a lot of these have never gotten vinyl pressings. I don't understand why they haven't gotten reissued. So a CD's fine. And this is an early Noise Records issue, so that's very cool. Probably my favorite pickup out of the CDs is this. Got this at, I want to say Thunderbird, and it was not expensive. I was very stoked to find it. It wasn't in the case. So this is Sodom with In the Sign of Evil. This has Obsessed by Cruelty, their first LP, and In the Sign of Evil, their first mini LP combined. This is a German pressing with a German hype sticker.
Wow.
I Googled that hype sticker, and it's like a line of, they did this back in the day of like punk and metal releases. I can't remember what that translates to in English, but I kept finding other CDs with that sticker on there, and they were all like punk and metal stuff. Was absolutely super stoked to find this. There's the back, Obsessed by Cruelty back.
What year is that?
So, German thrash, Sodom. This is I want to say 88. Oh, wow. Yeah, 88.
Okay.
West German. Another West German pressing.
West German, man.
Yeah. This definitely was not coming out. This, for sure, was definitely not. Nothing was coming out in East Germany, but this definitely was not.
Germany. That's a cool CD.
Yeah, man, I was super stoked to find this. This is one of my coolest finds in a long, long time. And yeah,
what'd you pay on that?
I want to say not a ton. I'm trying to find the CD on my Discogs. I want to say like less than $15.
Okay.
Let me see here. Yeah, highest it sold for on Discogs was $47. So,
Ooh, sweet baby G's.
it regularly hovers around the $30 range. So,
Okay.
yeah, super stoked to find that, especially with the hype sticker. So cool.
Yeah. It's really weird how like, but again, like for that especially, like I think it's weird for Rush to be over here. Like if you're finding West German stuff, I think that's somebody that moved here from West Germany, or I guess from a certain part of Europe. But like
Yeah,
for that stuff, it's all import because you had to import it because they were not stocking it here in
100%.
over in America, you know. So like that's how
Yeah,
I would imagine. Probably I don't know all of them, but a good number of US copies of that are actually West German copies, right?
100%. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yep, that's all my CDs.
There you go. Yeah, it's also cool because it's, you know, somebody, there's a guy that went to the record store or the back of a magazine or whatever, right? A mail order, and had to proactively order the Sodom CD. He didn't get it at the register. He didn't see the new releases, and like, no, he had, I want the new Sodom record, and that's
Yeah,
what I had to
exactly.
go do. Like
Yeah,
that's
100%.
nuts. So there you go. All right. Another Manchester thing that I have here. So this is actually sent to me, Freezies, by my buddy Fred, who lives out there in Georgia. So they put a new record or a new EP early this year called Valley Vision, and they've been working on it since the last record, and it's like a continuation, sort of capping that record off. And I've talked about it before when I bought all the copies. There's like 11 copies of it, variants, whatever. It's very, you know, cool. They just added, it wasn't even necessarily leftover songs, but it kind of was from the Millie Mass sessions. They reworked them, did a whole different thing. They have a movie that goes along with it, like a 180 VR movie that goes along with the songs. And it's like a movement of music more than anything else, right? So anyway, they did a pressing with Barnes and Noble, and I ordered this, and I got the Barnes and Noble pressing, right? So there's 500 of these pressed at Barnes and Noble, and after people started getting their copies, they noticed on side A is the record "Taboo" by Denzel Curry, a very different artist than Manchester Orchestra. So they were obviously, you know, people were super, you know, not upset, but they were like, what's going on here? They're on Loma he's on Loma Vista, same record label as they are.
Oh, okay.
And so they sent in the order, I guess, and the pressing plant used a plate from the Taboo record, the repress, because that record came out in 2018 actually. So the repress of the Taboo record, and they just messed it up and put it on this side A. So side A is Denzel Curry, side B is Manchester. So it was a big deal. There's 160 mispresses of the 500, and then you had an option that you could order a new copy and they would send it to you. And it was kind of also like a weird thing, because it was also like I don't think you had to send these back.
You didn't have to send
so
it.
it was kind of like
Sometimes like movies too, like Blu-ray labels and shit, they'll make you destroy it. They'll make you destroy it and send a picture of it.
oh wow,
That way they know you're not trying to get a free copy.
Free copy. Okay, interesting. Yeah, they didn't do that for sure, but it was more of a Scouts honor thing, right? But I didn't get, my copy came straight. So like you've never been upset to hear your favorite band before, right? Like it's like, oh damn it, I didn't get the one of the 160, the mispresses, whatever, right? So mispresses happen. There's a handful of like famous examples out there that I would love to get a hold of, and like there's a number that are worth money. Some aren't. It's just, you know, stuff happens. The only one that I think we've talked about before that I would like actively really want, that's not necessarily related to obviously them or whatever. I want the Dookie, I think Zeppelin 4. That's what I want. So side A is Dookie, side B is Zeppelin 4. That's what I want, because it's mid 90s. Or I mean, I assume it's of the moment, so it's probably mid 90s or maybe late 90s pressing of those records. And so the fact they were pressing in the mid 90s, Zeppelin 4 on vinyl was
Mm.
pretty crazy, and they had messed that up. And I think those are worth like, last I looked, it was like over $1,000 or so.
Wow.
They're pretty rare. I think that would be a holy grail kind of thing for me. And because it would just be really, I love Zeppelin, and I like Green Day, so it would be kind of a cool thing. So there you go. So Mispress, Manchester Orchestra. So I got a little subset of the of the other part of the collection. So there you go.
Yeah. It couldn't have been Ghost, huh? That'd have been cool.
No, that would have been cool. That would have been at least a similar, I don't know, similar, but like a closer genre of music.
Another rock.
Guitars and
Yeah,
things,
exactly.
The rock act, yeah. Or Manson, or a number of other people, right? But there you go.
Well, the Manson would have been even more rare because they ain't doing that no more. So,
ooh, that's very true. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, people are, but then they didn't, and then people did though. So
imagine they have
another
one of those
story.
right now. Yeah. All right. Alrighty, so I'll get into my final then. So I picked up Immortal. This is the 7th date of Blasherick. This is their 2007 Wacken Festival appearance. Did not know this was on vinyl. Saw this at Zia the other day. This is a 2020 pressing of a 2007 show. I do have the DVD and CD, but I never knew it was on vinyl. So super stoked to get this. It's like a silver with a kind of etching too of their face, which is kind of cool on one of the sides. So that's sick.
Hell yeah!
You got any more vinyl?
Yeah, I got 2 more.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and do one more then.
All right, so I got another record that I didn't think I was going to get ever because it's an unofficial, official first record for this band. But I think so it's going to be Say Anything Baseball, an album by Say Anything. It's their official first record, even though I personally don't recognize it as such. I think Israel Boy is still the debut, but whatever. That's the major label debut, whatever. Anyway, so this record, I like it enough. Like this is honestly just a completionist kind of thing for me. Even though I don't have all the Say Anything stuff, I like it enough to buy it. And I never thought I was ever going to own it. So there is some fan favorites on here, especially like Say Anything of the time. So early 2000s, 2004 or so, 2003. Like they were very like underground and very like LimeWire-y. And Max put out so many acoustic songs for years that like people would just like try to get everything you possibly could. So a lot of folks would just download random stuff. And Baseball was one of the early records that one of the earliest things he put out. And there's a CD version of that, and that's hundreds upon hundreds of dollars. And they finally did a vinyl version because I'm pretty sure Max sold his catalog. So I think that's why this has happened.
Oh, okay.
So there's Colorblind's on here, Showdown in P-Town, All My Friends, which is a big song, Manhattan, Rats, Last Great Punk Rock Song. Like there's some fan favorites on here for sure, some cult classics. But it's cool. This one I got on. Ooh, all right, dropping everything everywhere. Whatever, it's fine. This one is on, I believe, Bone White, and this is the retail copy. I got this on Amazon. I did a pre-order. I didn't want to go through the whole trouble of like trying to get like a super rare copy of this or whatever. And if I can buy it for $21 on Amazon, and just even if it is just the retail copy, it's fine. I don't care. I didn't think I was gonna have it anyway. So to find it, to get it pressed, pretty impressed. I've listened to it. It sounds as shitty and good as it ever did. Like it's Max in his bedroom with Colby, their drummer. Like it's just them cutting stuff onto like a tape recorder almost.
Oh, gotcha.
Like it's not audiophile quality. It never was. So cool to have it. It's a cool little relic, and to see what where they started at and where Max started at, and then what they turned into later. So there you go. Baseball, an album by Say Anything.
It's their black metal album.
Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly what, and that's why he calls it that too. He approaches it that way and says, "This is our black metal record, where we make it sound as shitty as possible, and put it out, on cassettes and CDs. Even though I don't think a cassette exists, not yet, at least.
Not yet. Something that does not sound shitty. Rush, Moving Pictures.
Just the songs are shitty.
Yeah. Okay. Needed this to be the last episode. Needed to needed to pick up a nice clean copy of this. This is a nice 81 pressing.
Real clean.
So was stoked. I have this in the box and realized all I have this is in the box. So now when I don't want to pull out the box, I have a copy. So Rush Moving Pictures.
Also found a sealed copy of 2112.
I did not buy it. They wanted $60.
Yeah. But still the fact that we found it at all is pretty insane. Was that the same trip?
I probably should. Right? It was the same trip. Yeah, I probably should have bought it, but like I told you at the store, I'm just gonna open it. I want to open it. So
yeah, I wouldn't do it. Because I'm dumb. So I have sealed records from whatever. I have a number of them, but I've never opened, and I will never open. I get why you would, because you've never opened a Rush record before, besides obviously like the contemporary stuff. Like you've never opened one, so to be able to be the guy that opened the copy of 2112 from, because it's no barcode, a non-barcode version. So like I'm assuming
it should definitely be 70s.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm
or
assuming
early 80s. It might be early 80s, like right after Moving Pictures came out. So
yeah. And I think we looked this up before, and I think 83, 82 is about where the barcodes came into effect for the records. So early 80s on back is where it's from. So it is cool to see.
It's at least 40 years old and could be approaching 50. So yeah.
Nutso.
Yeah.
All right. Last one I got here. I've been looking at this for a while. It's cheap. I remember when it first came out. It was a very, very big deal. It didn't come out on vinyl. It first came out in CD and DVD. This is Thursday. Kill the House Lights. So this is a compilation of like B-side tracks, but also like live tracks too. There's an S load of songs on here, and it also does include the DVD with it as well, which I already bought. I had the DVD and the CD back in the day. I still have it actually, but I bought that. I think when I bought it when we were in the first apartment, or me and Zach were. I think that's what the first time I bought it, and I remember watching the DVD in the apartment on the old TV, and being like super. I turned it up real loud. Was all stoked about it. It's cool. I mean, I love Thursday. I have everything they ever did. At least a copy of everything they ever did, and I would like to keep the discography complete as much as I can. And so this was, I think, $14. This is on pink. It's a 2 LP. It's on red. Why do? It's on a red vinyl. 2 LP includes a DVD. So like that's a pretty killer deal there for $14. I'm not going to say no to that. There's a few different copies of this pressings out there. I think one is for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I think it's on pink, and I think they have like another one's on clear and whatever. I didn't really care for the variant necessarily. If I came across it for cheap, I was going to buy it, and then once it came up for the deal, I did that. So super cool. I love Thursday, post-hardcore from New Jersey. Big band for me in high school, and they still play now, and it's usually just old stuff. They don't make new songs. So like after they broke up in like 2011-ish, 2010-ish, like they just stopped making new music, and then they got back together 3 or 4 years ago, and they just do anniversary tours and like festival appearances, and they play like When We Are Young. They're playing I think they're doing Full Collapse there. Yeah, I've seen them do anniversary shows a couple times, and it's still fun. It's still cool. I'll still go see them anytime, even if it is just old stuff. There you go.
Get back together, reunion tour. Nothing new.
Nothing
just
new.
The old stuff.
Just the hits.
Talked about this earlier, but I got it on vinyl. Trevor Rabin with Rio. This is like a seafoam green, so nice. had to have it on vinyl as well.
There you go.
Try to run through these quick as possible. Did an unboxing of this, so you can check it out on the channel. Black Sabbath with Reunion finally came out on vinyl. This is one of my most hated vinyl copies because it's giant. It's too big. Mm-hmm. The sleeve is big, like it's long.
Yeah,
and it fits nothing. So thanks. I don't know why it needs to be like a half an inch longer than any normal vinyl.
That's if you remember, like months or like a year ago, I did the early November. I bought a couple copies of their record for like $10 for like their big deluxe book record, and that book also is too big for everything. It does not fit in any cube, and it's just inconvenient. And I have it sitting next to like or on top of the bookshelf right now.
Yeah, it fits in the cube. It just doesn't fit into any sleeve.
So, oh yeah, no, that's yeah.
It's the right height.
Doesn't fit in the cube.
It's the right height. It's just too long. Like, yeah, it's not great.
Not great.
Got Scorpions, Taken by Force. This is the censored cover. Really clean copy. Like, look at that black.
That's the worst fucking cover.
Well, yeah, the original was like guys in a graveyard shooting at each other. So I guess, which is pretty tame for a Scorpions cover. But
yeah, there's no tits or anything, and that's pretty much where we're at.
Speaking of tits, Scorpions, the Love Drive censored cover. Finally found a copy of that.
That's cleaner than mine. That's way cleaner than mine.
Yeah, it's pretty gorgeous. I mean, the sleeve
cut out too.
Sleeve helps it. No.
Okay, never mind.
It is not. No, it's just like that's like the mirror on the car or whatever.
Okay. Interesting. How much did you pay money for that or no?
No, it was like less than $20.
Okay. Yeah, we've seen them before. And I bought my copy. My copy is ruined. Or no, I wouldn't say it's not ruined. It's just not very. It's not as nice as that.
Gotcha. I went to Zia one day, like randomly after work, and somebody had turned in a nice metal collection, and I bought a few choice pieces. Most of these are by the same guy.
I don't know this.
Yeah, I got King Diamond. Give Me Your Soul, Please. This is his, as of now, this is his last album that has come out. And this is 2007. Used to have this on CD. I bought it when it came out. So super stoked to get this. The album cover kind of sucks because they just blew up the CD JPEG. So it's a little pixelated.
Oh shit! Wow. Yeah. Never mind. I thought you meant the back cover was the same as the front. I was like, oh, they mirrored it. No. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's a little pixelated. This one came out pretty nice though. King Diamond with Voodoo. This is a cool record. It's kind of like a southern, not a southern rock, but it's got that kind of vibes. It's that story. It's obviously like a Louisiana story. So it's
have listened to that record. It is real not good.
You don't like Voodoo?
No, I like it. I listened to that record because I watched a video on it because the story behind the record, maybe you told me, but I remember I watched a video on it. It's about the abuse in the church.
And
around New Orleans, whatever. And that's when he came down and moved there or whatever. Or King moved there. And so it's real not good. There's a lot of bad.
Oh, the story. The record's cool.
Story. No, record's cool. The story is not. Yeah, the imagery and the lyrics and everything else. Like it tells the story real intensely.
Yeah, this is a 2015 reissue that Metal Blade put out, and most of these are remastered by Andy the Rogue, the guitar player. And then I got one more. This is like all I could afford. There was a few more. I think there was some Merciful Fate shit too.
Oh wow!
But actually, all the '90s Merciful Fate stuff just got reissued, which is pretty cool. So I gotta pick those up eventually. But I picked up his most recent live record, King Diamond: Songs for the Dead live. This is in Fillmore, at the Fillmore in Philadelphia. This is a really cool. You can watch this on YouTube. I highly recommend it.
Oh, I've seen some of that.
It's a really good.
I have seen some of that. Yeah.
This is a throwback for Tyler. I think you might have this in the collection. Obviously, you don't purge shit. So, Anthrax Worship Music.
Do have that?
Finally found a copy of this. I used to have this. Bought it when it came out in 2011. Have a lot of fond memories of this record because this is the Big 4 year. Yeah. So they released this and they were doing Big 4 at the same time. So it's kind of like during the tour for this. And then did we see them on this tour? Or was that the next tour? I can't remember.
No, we saw them on it might have been that tour. It might have been the next tour, but it's still on that record. I forget now. It was fun. Anthrax is it's so fun. It is so fun. I have that record. So I bought that record at Zia when it first came out, or damn near around that time, for really cheap because the copy that I have has slashes in it because I think whoever
okay.
was opening the box up, they opened the box up and slashed it. And there's like, it's not actually, it did not penetrate the cover. It just scratched it with the knife or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was super stoked to add that back in. I have a lot of nostalgia for that record just because of that time
For sure.
period. These have started showing back up again, which is cool. So Rush Vapor Trails remixed. This is they did this like 20, I can't remember. Like 2018 or something. I can't remember. But before that. But anyway, this record's from 03. Or 2013. So they did it 10 years after that. 10 years after the release. 03 remixed it in 2013 because this record notoriously has a terrible mix. So this is fine. I like this record a lot because this is the first time I ever saw Rush was on this tour. This is basically the comeback tour.
Yeah.
Was super stoked to actually get this because these went away and were kind of expensive. They were like in the $70-ish range, and then I guess they've reissued them because these randomly showed up at Zia again. So I was like, okay,
yeah,
I didn't even know it was happening.
I remember for a minute there, we would see that for quite a while. Like it was pretty common to see that and it hung out for a while.
Yeah, I bought that when it came out, so it's been cool, and this gives me hope because this is an Atlantic pressing. This is an Atlantic album, so gives me hope on the other shit. Picked up a really clean copy of Afterburner.
Yep,
I needed
very
one.
Cool.
It was like $6 or something.
Yeah, top is still pretty cheap. So if you can buy, if you want to get into the top, like the top game is still pretty cheap right now. And they sold so many records that like they're not hard to come by in nice condition. So when you do find one and it's cheap, like you just buy it. Like it's just,
I have and even the repress is like I have a really nice repress of Trace Hombres, like because it's an anniversary pressing and it was like $22 or something.
Nice, that's good.
Tyler mentioned this earlier. Benjamin Orr, The Lace, his solo album. Produced by Matt Shipley. Now I know that, right? Wasn't that his name? So there you go.
That's Matt Shipley. There you go.
This is really good. If you like Benjamin Orr, if you like the Cars, this is more of that. It kind of falls into that Heartbreak City era. So that's cool because I used to have that in the old collection. So I'm adding things back in that I used to have.
That was cheap too, wasn't it?
Almost done. It was like less than $10, maybe $6-7. Super stoked to find this. Got this at the In Groove. Deep Purple's 1973 album. Who Do We Think We Are? Pretty clean copy. Paid $16. It's a decent price. 50 years old. Crazy. Still looking good. I think this is like a late 70s pressing, so it's not usually at 50s, but Woman from Tokyo is the big song on here. So
that's cool.
Still Ian Gillan, still pre Glenn and David. Picked this up to complete the discography. Also, it's a 2013 album, so we got to do that soon before the year's done. So Halloween, Straight Outta Hell. It's their 2013 album. It's pretty good. I really like basically all the Halloween. So double LP colored, and you get some bonus tracks on here too that I don't know if they're directly tied to the vinyl or if they were on other things, but still cool.
Yeah.
Got a box set. Did an unboxing of this. You can check it out on the channel, The Darkness. Permission to Land again. This is the 20th anniversary, another 2003 album. Check out our 2003 episode. This has a ton of stuff. Check out the unboxing, 5 LPs, a bunch of B-sides, and a couple live shows. Really cool set.
Hell yeah. And now with guitar pick.
Yes, very true. Yeah. Chili Peppers, by the way. Just a reissue copy. These are so easy to find now. Like they used to be. You remember back in the day, like before they reissued them, they were impossible.
Yeah, I remember finding a copy of the Mother's Milk like for like I don't know, like $20. But I don't have that. I think for you, and I think you bought it was like $20, and we were like, whoa, like because that was before they started really cracking into anything.
Yeah. So I'm slowly, getting them done. I'm not in any rush because, like I said, it's like
they'll be around.
They're just available now.
They'll be around till they're not around, and then we got to pay money for them, or you just never get them again. I don't know.
Exactly. Picked this up at T-Bird. It's a little rough on the sleeve, but the vinyl's in really good condition, so that's why I pulled the trigger. And it was priced right for the condition. But this is Dio's '88 album, Dream Evil.
Ooh.
So it's got a little bit of like wear down here, like somebody it like peeled off.
Taped it or something?
Yeah, but the vinyl is it's VG plus, so I bought it because you don't see this anymore, and it was less than $20. So
yeah,
and I needed to. This is 87, not 88, but I needed to finish it. Now I have the first. This is like the first 5 Dio albums, so basically almost done with that. So it's stuff that I really want.
And then when the box set comes down, then maybe a box set.
Yeah, I'll buy that in the 90s stuff, the latter era. Speaking of box sets, Van Halen Collection 2, unboxing on this on the channel. I am enjoying this immensely, man. I mean, to own Balance and, For Unlawful, like, it's kind of a vinyl collector's dream come true. like a Van Halen fan vinyl collector. Like, those are grails, back in the day, so.
Because we resigned ourselves to the fact that we were never ever going to get them. So to be able to get them is a big deal.
100%. So I had to buy that just in case they never get removed from the box. Just on the off chance that they never do, which they might, knowing Van Halen. Yeah. So this is not my most recent pickup. There's actually stuff that arrived today, but pretty recent. Evanescence 20th anniversary of Fallen, another 2003. So feeling really old today. This is really good. Anna and I listened to this last night. You got a lot of bonus tracks on here, some live cuts, some B-sides. There's one cool song on here that I never heard that's from the Orchestra soundtrack called Farther Away. Obviously they were in the Daredevil soundtrack, but or it's Breathe No More. Breathe No More is the song in the Daredevil soundtrack. But there's demos, some AOL sessions, live acoustic stuff. There's even recent live at the O2 Arena from 2022. Some of this was all previous. A lot of this on D side is all previously unreleased stuff too. It's a nice foil cover too.
Oh yeah. So
they did some extra stuff there. I kind of don't like the 20th anniversary on there. I wish I kind of didn't say that. But that's fine. You got a cool poster of Amy in here too. I told Nana I was going to hang it up above our bed, and she just said okay. And then I was like, okay, call my bluff there. Yeah. Like, all right. So there you go.
Hold on, question.
Yeah.
So Elektra was Jennifer Garner, was it not?
Yeah, that was the one after Daredevil. That's because Elektra is like tied to Daredevil. It's like whatever.
So Daredevil was Ben Affleck.
Very true.
Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner.
Very true.
Married kids. Elektra, Daredevil, Evanescence. That's the link. Not the
Dave Mustaine. Yeah, Dave Mustaine's daughter is named Elektra, so there's probably something there too. Look into it.
I'm just asking questions.
Just look it up.
Yeah, just look into it.
All of these came today. I got an Amazon gift card, so I was like, screw it. I'm finally going to buy these. Try to finish this out because there's only 5 albums that this band did. So I was like, okay, finish it out. So Strapping Young Lad, Devin Townsend's band, death metal, industrial death metal stuff. This is City. This just came today, so I haven't even opened it up yet.
Nice.
This is on neon vinyl. These are all pretty cheap.
What year is that?
City is shit. It doesn't say. You might have to look that up for me.
Yeah,
I want to say like maybe 97.
Okay.
99. Maybe 2000.
97.
Okay. This is the last album that they did, Strapping Young Lad, The New Black. This is 06.
06.
Yeah, this is when I saw them on Ozfest on this tour. This is an album that Devin didn't want to do. He did it to get out of the record contract. He didn't even want to do Ozfest. They made him do Ozfest. So that's my first experience with Devin Townsend, him and his most miserable and basically making fun of the audience and literally saying he didn't want to be there, playing at like 9 a.m. So
were they weren't the band that you saw break up, right? That was
no.
Okay, never mind.
I never saw a band break up.
Okay.
We saw I saw Catatonia with I don't even think it was with Devin Townsend. I don't know why Colin was with me though. But anyway, I think Catatonia was headlining. No, Devin was opening. It was Devin, okay. Paradise Lost, and then Catatonia. And Paradise Lost, what's his face? He's in fucking Bloodbath now. I can't remember the name. The lead singer of Paradise Lost. He's the lead singer of Bloodbath right now. He like the sound was just not good. I guess his monitor wasn't working. And he just eventually just left. And like the guys were just like, all right, I guess we're leaving. So they just left. And that's kind of my first experience with Paradise Lost. I didn't really know who they were at the time.
Nick Holmes?
Nick Holmes, yeah, that's him. Yeah. He's still in Paradise Lost. Like they're still a band. They're still a big band. Yeah. But yeah, Strapping Young Lad, The New Black. I like this record a lot. Almost Again is probably one of my favorite songs he's ever done. He still plays that live a lot. So,
hell yeah.
Alrighty, and got a couple more. The first album, Strapping Young Lad. Check out this one's on a transparent yellow vinyl. So we'll get to open that up. This one has Rape Song on there, which is a classic Strapping Young Lad song. And then probably his masterpiece outside of City, Alien. So it's a 2 LP. All these are pretty cheap too. They were all like less than $30, but like I said, I had a gift card. So I'm waiting on one more, and then that'll basically finish it off. So that's nice. Yeah, this has Love, which is probably the most famous Strapping Young Lad song. So
does he still play? You said he played some of that stuff live. One of the songs from the last record. Does he still play like a fair amount of Strapping Young Lad live or no?
Not a ton. It just depends on kind of what kind of tour he's doing. But a lot of the he did some like anniversary sets and stuff recently, and like the big I can't remember where. It's not Wembley. It might be. I can't remember. Anyway, he did some anniversary shows in England a few years ago, and he did a lot of Strapping Young Lad stuff during that. So yeah, he'll mix it up from time to time.
There you go.
This is probably my favorite record that they ever did under that moniker. And that's it. We're done.
That's some pretty healthy hauls here, my friend.
Yeah, I was actually pretty impressed with your CDs. Like those are some good Goodwill hauls. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, my entire haul here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $12 for all of these.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that. Like, if you want to get into music collecting, like that's the way to go. Like, just start buying CDs. Like, even if you're not thrifting, you can go to record stores and go into the dollar bins or the 2 for $5s and find great seminal albums, because they always end up with 1,000 of them in the store. You know?
Yeah, we talked about before. Metallica records like Ride the Lightning is $36 right now for a single LP. You can buy a vast majority of the Metallica discography for that price. So you're walking out of the record store, and you can find those also, like at least Black Album and maybe some Load and Reload possibly. You can find those for sure, like maybe at certain thrift stores, maybe at some point. I don't know. I have never really seen them, but whatever. I would buy them if I did. But you could probably run into those, and like at the record store, you're walking out of there for that $36. You're walking out of there with at least 5 of their CDs at the very least. So that works out pretty well.
Especially if you don't care about the pressing. Obviously, you're going to spend a lot of money if you want like Electra pressings and shit like that. But if you just want blackened pressings, they're $5-6.
And the super, or not super, the deluxe editions and stuff they put out here, like they're also, because I looked last time, they're like $11 or $12 used. So like you can get the live CDs and stuff and everything else included in there for cheap. Like, so do that. Like you don't have to buy vinyl. Like vinyl is very stupid right now. and bands and labels are just like taking advantage of people, and like it's not good. So if you are wanting, I mean, me and Ty talked about this before. That's why I think cassettes and CDs are going to come back, because it's just people inherently want to collect a physical, tangible item at some point. At least the people that want to do that, and the easiest avenue right now is the CD.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's, like you said, like the prices about like some of the record store day prices, man, for this Black Friday. It's crazy. It's crazy what they want to charge for this shit, and then what they're charging the stores for. And like, yeah, eventually, like we said, we're gonna get to the breaking point eventually. But yeah, CDs, cassettes, like if you want to own physical media for music, like that's what I would recommend if people start your collection, because you could still thrift good CD players and cassette players too. It's harder to thrift good turntables. And then even if you thrift that good turntable, you're going to spend money tuning that table up. You know, buying a new stylus, buying a new head shell if you don't have the head shell, all that shit. Buying new belts if you don't have belts, shit like that.
The CD, the CD is the most accessible. And I guess cassette too, to a certain extent, for certain. I guess they're both whatever. They're the most accessible because you can, like, I've sent you pictures of cool boom boxes even. So like, if you're a kid and you want just like buy old band stuff or whatever, you can buy a boom box at Goodwill, a cool like late 2000s that looks all weird and stuff. Like you can buy that for $20, and that's just your boom box now, and you can put your CD in there that you bought for $1, and you're ready to rock and roll, man.
Even if you want to do something nicer than that, like if you're not too picky, we could find receivers all day.
Oh, true. True.
You know, speakers are usually harder, especially if you get a Goodwill that prices them out, and to find actually nice ones that aren't blown. But if you look long enough, you'll find them. You know, you could piece together a really decent system for less than $100 easily.
Oh,
if you just
easily, right? We could walk to my Goodwill right now, and we can spend $30 on a receiver, $10 on a 5-disc changer, and
and a tape deck. You can get a tape deck for $10-15 or whatever.
Exactly. You can do that, and then speakers, and you can just buy surround sound speakers or whatever if you want to buy 2 bookshelves or whatever the hell, and just hook them up, and like you're in it for $65 at the most, and you got a system. Like it's the world is your oyster. That's all the world is.
Yeah. As long as you don't get hung up on vinyl and owning the big pictures and like the tangible experience of vinyl.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, that's it. That was a good pickup. That was a good haul video. If you like to step us up, hit the like button, subscribe, comment. We love you guys. We appreciate it. And we'll be back with more hauls probably in a month or two. We'll see you next time, guys. Peace.